It's the Orioles on Masson from Comerica Park in Detroit. It's the Orioles and the Tigers today, the finale of this three-game series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter. Thanks so much for joining us. Daytime baseball here in Detroit. And the Orioles are looking to bounce back after a very tough loss yesterday, leading at 4-2 in the eighth, tying it in the ninth, only to watch the Tigers walk it off. And it's been a tough road trip for the Orioles. In fact, the Birds are looking for a win today to avoid an 0-6 trip. And the numbers really tell the story. You go back to Boston, where the Red Sox won the rain-shortened three-game series, and the Tigers have won the first two games here. But look at the team pitching, allowing nearly 6 runs per game at 5.85, and the bats have been inconsistent, scoring under 3 runs a game. Very difficult to win when you combine them. And Jim Palmer, it is the story. What the Orioles need to do is find a way to get the pitching and the hitting in concert in the same game.
Well, yeah, you want to be on tune, in tune, whatever you want to call it, but you have to play in concert. So the good news over the last 3 games of this road trip is the starting pitching's been good. Mm-hmm. Whether it was Bundy in inclement weather, 34 degrees up in Boston, and then you had Cashner. He got the loss, but pitched very well on Tuesday night. Kevin Gausman, very good yesterday, but just couldn't put it quite together. So, you need to win this game. You look at the weather. It was 35 degrees when the game started. It's 44. The sun is out. Jordan Zimmerman has not pitched well against the Orioles, so you need to find out a way to win. You're going home against a very tough opponent in the Cleveland Indians. So this is a game where maybe everything will come together, and it appears that's what it's going to have to take for the Orioles to win.
Now, every team, of course, relies on its frontline players and the stars. But, Jim, over the course of a long year, you need to rely on the role players from time to time. And yesterday, the role players on the Orioles nearly helped this team to a win.
Well, they did. And, with Jonathan Scope on the disabled list with an oblique problem, somebody's got to play. So Castro comes in, runners at first and third, nobody out. How about Bielma? I mean, fabulous play. Jones can really run. So, again, they try to get him. They don't get the double play. So and as it turns out, they would actually take the lead eventually because of this. Craig Gentry every day, whether it's defensively, whether it's base running, or in this case, bunting, being it out, 4 infield hits on the year. They would go on to get the lead. And then all of a sudden, after the 3-run home run by Hicks, doesn't hit a lot of home runs off their closer, Shane Green, and you think they're going to win. But again, the Tigers just play a little bit better. So give them credit, and you'd like to give them credit for the first 2 games and figure out a way to win today. And I think I'll take my chances with the lineup the Orioles are putting on the field.
And the one big positive I think you take out of yesterday's game is the bats did finally awaken. So you hope there's a carryover into today's game.
Well, the Orioles are in the low 200s. Last year they were, 287 with runners in scoring position, 3 for 7. Chris Davis, walk. Only 1 strikeout, got a ball that he hit off the top of the wall. Thought it was going to be a double long single. It actually drove in the potential winning runs. So, again, you're in a position to win the ball game. You just have to play a little better. It's kind of interesting. Miguel Cabrera, who turned 35, had a big day yesterday with a home run and a double down the left field line. He said, "Listen, you can sit around and complain, or you can go out there and do it. The Tigers have done it the first 2 games. The Orioles need to do it this afternoon."
So the finale of 3 here in Detroit. The sun is out. It's cool, but it's crisp. And Alex Cobb goes to the mound. More on him when we come back on Masson. Bears with nothing to hide, that's transparency. Well, daytime baseball for a second consecutive day, and the temperatures have warmed up. It's in the 40s, hopefully heading to 50. And hopefully Alex Cobb rebounds from his Orioles debut over the weekend at Fenway Park, where he lasted just 3 2/3 innings. And maybe, Jim, here in Detroit will be the tonic. Here are his numbers against Detroit overall, and look at him at Comerica Park. In 4 starts, he's gone 1-0, 3 no decisions with a very impressive ERA, and everybody's expecting that he'll bounce back as he works his way into better pitching shape.
Well, I think that's probably one of the more important questions as he works his way back into pitching shape. I think the important thing about that graphic was has never allowed a home run here at Comerica Park. They hit 4 of them yesterday. They actually out-homered the Orioles 4-2. What we saw in Boston, Jim, he's primarily even though he won 12 games and lost 10 last year, he didn't have the great splitter. He didn't have it at all. He tried to establish it. A lot of balls were drilled. Gave up 8 runs, 7 earned against the Red Sox, who in 2 games in Anaheim have scored 19 runs. So they're the best offensive team in the American League. But he's a fastball curveball with a splitter, and hopefully that will be better today than it was up in Boston. And if that changes around, then all of a sudden you can't really sit on any one pitch. The Red Sox were so hot. They really took advantage. Big, 4-run first inning, and that kind of changed the tone of the game. So hopefully he'll be controls the running games, does a lot of things that helps you to win when he's actually in shape. So Jim, talking about what he went through, he had a sim game, an extended spring game, and then against the Red Sox briefly. They did throw a lot of pitches through 79 pitches, 3 2/3 innings, 10 hits, the 8 runs, 7 of them earned.
Now, in his start on Saturday at Fenway, Chance Sisco was his catcher, and Chance is catching again today. That's got to be a help. At least Sisco knows what was working and what he hopes will work today.
Well, you hope that you don't get the same result, but I don't think that was about Chance Sisco. You have a veteran pitcher in Alex Cobb. He knows what he wants to throw. If he doesn't like the call, he's going to be a guy that's going to pitch with conviction. He'll shake him off. Time
for our game time temperature, brought to you by BGE Home. We know more, we do more. How about that? It's up to 45 degrees, winds at 14 miles an hour, and that humidity 44%, but the wind chill still feels like it's 39 degrees. Bright sunshine, though, so hopefully the temperature will continue to rise. And here's the Orioles starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest. Low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Mancini, Alvarez, and Machado up top with Adam Jones in the cleanup spot. Chris Davis, he's looking to break out, and maybe today's the day. Big career numbers against Jordan Zimmerman.
Yeah, Jordan Zimmerman, the last game he got hit on the right side of the face. Jason Kipnis of the Indians line drives, so only faced 2 batters. But, basically a fastball, slider, curveball, 2 seamers, so you can see 50% breaking balls. The way that the Tigers in the first 2 games, whether it was Liriano on Tuesday night or Matt Boyd, both left-handers, and Zimmer, as you can obviously see, right-handed, a lot of breaking balls. Tried to stay away from the fastball. You get enough of them. But I was talking to Chris Bosio, and he said, listen, he tried to speed up the windup. Very slow last year. He did not have a good year. Went, 6-11 or 6-13 ERA over 6 runs a game. So, again, he's only 31 years old. 5-year deal, 3rd year of that deal. And they think he had a very good spring, even though the season hasn't started out well, that he can help them, pitch, 5 2/3, 6 1/3 innings and get to the bullpen with leads.
Well, Zimmerman, of course, began his career with the Nationals and then came here to the Tigers, and that contract Jim talked about as a free agent. A lot of people thought he would go to Milwaukee because he's from Wisconsin, but the Tigers overwhelmed him, and so he came here for the big 5-year deal. So he is looking for his first win of the year, making his 4th start. Trey Mancini will lead off, and he has had big-time numbers since going into the leadoff position. So he's 292 overall, but Jimmy's batting .346 in the 12 games as the leadoff hitter.
Well, you can see off the plate, and will hit it just about anywhere.
Towards the middle, glove there by Machado. The off-balance throw, he got him. Nicely done. Machado's doing it all.
Yeah, take a look at their defense. Big field here. Wind blowing all over the place. Jones, Martin Castellanos last year played 3rd, moved to right field in September. Candelario came over from the Pirates in a trade. Iglesia, Machado with the game winner, walk-off yesterday. Cabrera, happy birthday. And then James McCann behind the plate. McCann behind the plate. Yeah. And I talked to Buck Showalter. Was it pecan or pecan? So it's McCann. just as it's pecan or pecan.
Isn't it pecan?
It is pecan, but a lot of people say pecan pie.
with
but
that
Buck told me
drawl?
his mom said, yeah, well, they do. His mom goes, no, we.
I didn't know you were a Southerner. That's very
no,
good.
but you drive from Baltimore to spring training for about 19 or 20 years.
There you go.
You're not having pecan pie, you're having pecan pie.
0-2 on Alvarez. He fights it off to stay alive. Pedro at DH today to get his bat in there. He's had a very consistent start to his year despite infrequent at-bats. He's had just 26 at-bats on the year.
So Zimmerman again getting hit by the line drive, and it happened, as you talked about, Wisconsin Stevens Point, where he was throwing batting practice back in 2007. Actually had a plate put in his face, and it hit exactly the same place. So left the game, but only threw 7 pitches. So he should be well rested. Probably will have a little bit extra velocity early on here.
He's a big guy, 6'2", 225. 1-2 to Pedro's upstairs.
Now his average fastball is around 90, but we've already seen 92, 93. As you mentioned, the temperatures have gone up. Started, it seemed, at right around 45 degrees. So the ball's probably still a little bit slick. There is Chris Bosio.
2-2 has popped up. Left side of the infield in the shift. That is Candelario, the third baseman, and he's got it for the out. So 2 men down. Well, Jordan Zimmerman facing the Orioles, and Jim, at one time he owned the O's, but since 2013, not so much. In fact, look at that ERA, 10.50 head-to-head since 2013.
Well, when you get a new pitching coach, you're trying to impress them. Doesn't matter how long your deal is. And again, they speed up to wind up the slider, which is really important. And then if you have that extra mile or two, he knows how to win. That's why they gave him over $100 million to sign here in Detroit. You know, all kinds of he won his first 4 starts last year, then had neck problems. So he's had some physical problems since he became a Tiger.
Here's Manny Machado, batting average up to .319. He's had a very consistent start, Manny. In fact, he's tied for 3rd in the league with 23 base hits for most hits. He and Trey Mancini are both in the top 10 in base hits.
Well, former shortstop moving back to shortstop, that hasn't bothered him.
Chewed right back to the mound as Zimmerman made a real good pitch. Machado's retired and the Orioles go 3 up, 3 down. We head to the bottom of the 1st in Detroit. Alex Cobb to take the mound. Yesterday's hero, Dixon Machado, led off in the bottom of the 9th with a walk-off home run for Detroit.
So Alex Cobb, he will, in his 2nd start, try to be better than he was the last time. 3 pitches, usually a command guy, controls the running game. What do you have, 6 pick-off last year? And hopefully, because he pitched well in Fenway going into that game where he gave up 8 runs and 8 runs, 7 of them earned, he was 5-1 with a low ERA. But you made a great point. He rushed to get back to where he is today, which is on the mound for the Orioles. A late signing, the 21st of March.
The ball 1 to LEONYS Martin, who amazingly didn't swing. He goes up there looking to swing that bat.
Yeah, he'll swing at pretty much everything. We saw Gausman strike him out on 3 splitters out of the zone.
So Alex Cobb, who was born in Boston but grew up in Vero Beach, Florida. He's now in his 7th season. And as Jim mentioned, of course, the 4-year contract to come to Baltimore to help solidify the rotation.
Yeah.
2-1 the count.
A guy that I would imagine if he can get on, Martin, they will let him run because in years past he's stolen over 30 bases. But it really helps a guy out if you know he's going to expand the strike zone.
Towards the middle, and there's a base hit. So Martin gets on, leading off here in the first.
Take a look at the defense for the Orioles. Mancini, Jones, Anthony Santander, a Rule 5 player. Beckham, Machado, Sardinas with the pinch hit home run. He gets to play second. Davis, good, yes, a couple of RBIs, walked, strikeout. SISCO, pinch hit, struck out. He gets to play behind the plate for the Orioles today, as they try to match up lefty versus the right-hander Zimmerman.
Here's Jeimer Candelario, who has found a home here in Detroit. The youngster was blocked in the Cubs system, so he was traded over here to the Tigers. And they are giving him every opportunity to seize that third base job, and there's another base hit. Martin stops at second, so a couple of ground balls that find holes, and the Tigers have 2 on and none down.
Well, that's good base running, even though you have speed. And of course, Candelario, we've seen him hit the fastball in this series. That's exactly what he gets. So aggressive young hitter, and Alex Cobb will be the first guy to tell you whether it's a major league game or a spring training game. You get a young guy, they got him because you're not going to hit in the big leagues if you can't hit the heater. Got it down the middle. Martin, though, smart, because the scouting report on Santander, he's got a good arm.
Yes, he does.
So why get thrown out when you have the birthday boy, who's 4 batting titles and 2 MVPs, got a chance to maybe have a big inning here.
So already a tough spot for Cobb. Breaking ball misses outside. Miguel Cabrera yesterday with that home run on his birthday, his 464th. He is now 35th all time, and he's 1 shy of Dave Winfield, who is 34th on the list at 465.
And of course, Dave Winfield in the Hall of Fame, 3,000 hits.
Miggy will join him there one day, once he works off this contract he has.
Well, he's 3 for 15 lifetime, but that's Alex Cobb when he's in shape. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him. He's coming out there because he got a 4-year deal for a lot of money, late sign, try to get back as quickly as he can. Certainly not the ideal way. And then, he's about command. He's not the Alex Cobb before the Tommy John where he could overpower people.
2-0 is lifted foul, slicing down the line. Davis over, has a play. How about that? So the ballpark holds it. That is a big, big out, as Cobb is able to get a dangerous hitter in Cabrera.
Yeah, he gets the fastball he wants, and then he's trying to go to right. He goes to right as well as anybody, but pops it up. And not as much wind, even though there's a little bit of gust. So nice play by Davis getting over there. A little more foul territory here in Detroit than you do in a lot of the American League East ballparks. So now all of a sudden you make your pitch, and even though Castellanos got the big double yesterday, again, he could be a double play guy.
Trey Mancini needs a new glove. There's Guccione, the second base umpire, helping him out.
Well, when you're a kid, you're always kind of putting your hand in the glove. That's when you've been in the weight room a long time, and you do that, and the web breaks.
Well, he is strong.
Yes, that's kind of my point. Or maybe he just looked down at his glove and he goes, I have some rawhide that's not rawhide.
Well, in spring training, he was breaking in a new game glove. Not sure if that was the one that just left. So here's Castellanos. First and second now with one down. And a little bit low. Crew Chief Larry Vanover has the plate today.
And the first inning usually for both hitters and pitchers is about, okay, what's going to be called a strike. I saw Chris Guccione called the low strike on Tuesday night. Yesterday it was pretty good strike zone by David Rackley. Very consistent.
And this one slices back foul. Well, Castellanos, he's having a real good overall year. And the list of players who lead their teams in both walks and base hits, and he is on that list. In fact, he's doing a real good job. He has 7 walks and 18 hits, so he leads the Tigers in both those categories. And Manny Machado on that list as well, with 10 walks and 23 hits to lead the Birds. So that shows a good batting eye. It shows patience, and it shows that you're getting your share of base hits.
Well, he had 72 extra base hits last year, 10 triples. And this park has a lot to do with that. Balls up the left and right center field gaps.
1-1 is bounced towards third and foul.
So now you're all of a sudden a couple of balls down the middle of the plate. The young hitters hit singles, and a good pitch to Cabrera. Now maybe getting in a better rhythm. Number one, where he can throw the splitter. That's not the pitch. He just didn't have it. It wasn't. He was throwing it. He's kind of like Ohtani did against the Red Sox, where he's throwing 99 to 100. Now Alex Cobb's not going to do that, but no secondary pitches. So the secondary pitches for Alex in Boston kind of nil. So now all of a sudden you get into this count, splitter, curveball, maybe make a pitch, get that ground ball, get out of the inning, and let your guys come up.
So Cobb's ahead 1-2. And he got him, got a fastball by him. Up and in, and Castellanos swings through it.
Man, he's probably thinking along with me. I mean, when you hit with 2 strikes, you got to cover everything. So he's looking, change up, curveball, hoping to get a ball out over the plate, and right underneath his fist. Perfect pitch.
Cobb in his career has averaged 7 Ks per 9 innings. Very good command, walking about 2.5, so that's a good ratio.
Yeah, before the Tommy John, he was closer to 9 and almost 10.
So here's Victor Martinez, the ageless one, now 39 years old. And he could still hit. He's got a 4-game hitting streak going, and he's been on base now in 11 consecutive games. And Cobb been out away from getting out of this early jam. And there's a high strike. Our league leaders brought to you by Coons. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons.
Well, Abreu and Ohtani, of course, he pitches, and when he's not pitching, want to give him a day, I think, before and after he's the DH. Joe Mauer off to a great start. Victor at 39, and then, of course, J.D. Martinez he's made that lineup up in Boston even better. Had a big night last night with a home run to the opposite field.
Breaking balls hit in the left field. There's a base hit. Martin will be sent. Here comes Mancini's throw. It is cut off, and the out at third base as they get the sliding Candelario. So the run does count. Larry Vanover says Martin got in, and Cobb gets out of it without any further damage. So Detroit gets on the board first. They score 1 and strand 1. We head to the second. 1-0 Tigers. win up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Just visit mdlottery.com/homerun. Mark Shire's trying to fix Mancini's game glove. Oh, look at that, Jim. You're right. The webbing broke.
Yeah, you never know when it's kind of going to get worn enough to. But at least he did it before he found out that the ball went through the web, and he wouldn't have gotten the assist. I mean, that would have been a huge play. Because mark my word, they ran themselves right out of an inning right there. There's no reason, if you're Candelario with Martinez second, that you need to go to third base, because he's going to score anyway. You got to know your guy in front of you and who can run and who can't.
So Zimmerman gets an early 1-0 lead. Retired the side in order in the first. Adam Jones, Davis will follow, and then Sardinas. That ball towards the gap in left center field. That's going to get down for a base hit, and it goes all the way to the wall. Martin plays the carom, and Adam Jones with a leadoff double. So Adam now has 7 hits against Jordan Zimmerman, and he gets into scoring position. Been a tough go for Adam. He was just 4 for his last 28.
Yeah, and that's why the average came in at 227. You know, RBIs 10, home runs 3. Had a sacrifice fly yesterday. But he cannot live in the middle of the plate. This very much like the Mookie Betts home run off of Ohtani the other night on a 3-2 pitch. Down in the middle of the plate. Pretty good velocity, but very hittable.
Well, Chris Davis now. And that one's upstairs, ball 1.
So you're hoping that Chris Davis, with a double off the top of the wall, missed a home run by an inch or two. And then a walk, seeing the ball a little bit better. Hands are more comfortable. They're dropping down a little bit, probably in a better position to hit. He's going to have to make some changes, and hopefully he'll be willing to do that. And that's what, again, when you're not hitting the way you want, everybody's trying to make adjustments. And it's hard to do when you don't hit outside.
Slicing down the left field line. That ball has carry. Back it goes, and that ball is gone. So for a second consecutive day, Davis goes opposite field. This time it carries out. And his second home run has put the O's on top.
Yeah, it's a matter of maybe making some adjustments, and then, as he did off of Drew Verhagen yesterday, getting pitches to hit. I mean, that's thigh height over the plate. You know, so if you throw it at 91, 92, it slows down because you let the ball travel a little bit more. It becomes hittable. The wind is blowing out here, as it has in all 3 days. And all of a sudden, 1-0 is 2-1.
And our congratulations to Nicholas Allen Jr. of Westminster, our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game. Just like that, another $500. Courtesy of this swing.
So take a look. Hands in a better position. He drops them, and then he just slices it. Again, everybody talks about you know, the uppercut swing, launch angle. That's a pretty good launch angle.
Get over. Sardinas to first. Cabrera is going to take it unassisted. And one away on the ground out. Fans, the Birds head home after today, and they host the Cleveland Indians this weekend. On Sunday, you can celebrate Earth Day, as the O's will celebrate the ballpark's new LEED Gold certification and take the field in special Earth Day jerseys and caps. Now, the first 20,000 fans 15 and over receive an Earth Day tote bag presented by MLB Network. Get your tickets and come on out and join us at Orioles.com. And Chris Davis, first home run on the trip. So he's now hitting back-to-back games. And Jim, as you mentioned, sometimes you just need something positive to feel better about it, and then you could get on a roll.
Well, also the weather helps. You know, I was looking at, I mean, the Red Sox went, they're lights out at 15-2, but 19 runs in 2 games out there. And Tim Hires, the young hitting coach, who was their hitting instructor, says it's nice to come to California and maybe even 45 degrees today and feel your hands. And that's what you can do when the weather gets a little bit warm. I mean, it's not an excuse to make outs, and nobody's saying that's the case, but it's nice because, you know, when we saw George Springer on the field in Houston, who was the MVP in the World Series, he says it's all about my hands. So if you don't really hit and it's cold, you get bad habits.
2-2 to Beckham.
Well, let's
Tim
see
trying to snap it 0 for 17.
Well, he's going to have to, as he did in August. He was as good as any hitter that I've seen use the whole field. So if they're going to, and that's what they're doing, they're running the ball in under his hands and then sliders away. And if Zimmerman's going to have a good afternoon, that's what he's going to be able to do. So let's see if either goes to right. There's the breaking ball.
Left center field, and nobody's there. And that falls in for a base hit. Beckham is thinking two. Pretty good throw. The slide, he is safe. Well, that was a double out of the box because of the hustle.
Yeah, again, it was a breaking ball. Now he doesn't get it where he wants to, which is down and away. It becomes hittable. And again, this is such a big outfield. He's got great speed, not stolen base speed. So there's the pitch. It's not a bad pitch. Goes down and gets it. One-handed. Nobody's playing there. And then, boy, the luxury when you can run is the play's in front of you. So when it's coming in, you know which side of the bag to slide to. Great ocular acuity there.
Wow.
Write that down.
First, I have to learn how to spell it. There's a base hit for Santander. Beckham will be held at third by Bobby Dickerson. So Santander a base hit, and the Orioles all of a sudden here have 4 hits in the second inning.
Yeah, Zimmerman came out looking very sharp, and only 7 pitches after getting hit with a line drive, and now all of a sudden it's BP. And the reason Beckham doesn't score is he has to make sure that line drive clears the infield.
So Tim snapped his 0 for 17 with a double. He goes to third on Santander's hit. First and third, and still only 1 down for Chance Sisco. Chance has cooled off a little bit. He got off to a good start. He's 0 for his last 7 and 5 for 22 in his past 10 games.
Yeah, we've seen the late inning guys that throw 95 and above just say, okay, see if you can hit the high heater, and he hadn't been able to do that. Matt Barnes throws there, but he hung a curveball on Friday night in Boston when they started, and he served it into left field. I mean, really made a nice swing on it, kind of what Victor Martinez did to get the run in off of Alex Cobb.
Fouls it back again, so quickly 0-2. So can he hit it deep enough for a sac fly?
Yeah, so this is your sacrifice fly probability. The red line, that's probably the limit where it's touch and go. Depending, of course, who's at third. Beckham with good speed, and then if you get a little bit deeper, it's a little bit harder to throw him out.
And all 3 outfielders behind that green line.
Yeah, it's either, and that's 92. So slider, really good pitches by Zimmerman, and then up the ladder. So you either got to take it because it's a ball, but it looks hittable, but it's not. Very difficult. And Jordan Zimmerman's delight, able to make quality pitches to get to that count.
Well, here's Mancini for his second at bat with an RBI chance. Ball 1 low.
Yeah, the one thing that Trey hasn't been able to do yet is get on track with runners in scoring position. 340 last year. One of those marvelous numbers. And it just seemed in these situations, not that he hasn't hit balls hard. When you're 1 for 12, he's probably hit 3 or 4 line drives with runners in scoring position. Nothing to show for it.
He's also been robbed more than any other hitter on the team.
Yeah, we just go back and look at the Toronto series.
Well, he's got a 6-game hitting streak going, and he has base hits in 13 of the Orioles' first 18 games. And this move to the leadoff spot has proven beneficial for both him and the team. Fouls that one back.
But see, that's a good approach. I mean, it's a slider that's 2-0. It's not down and away, so he had every intention to drive that to right field. And that's what the good hitters do. First time up, the good slider, he bounced to second.
And first and third, 2 down and 2-1 on Mancini. A little bit low, good eye. Larry Vanover early on here, Jim, a hitter's umpire.
Well, Maybe we'll see. Well, no, you know, I'm looking at it. It's funny. There's been maybe one questionable pitch, and that was Cobb to Castellanos, maybe right around the knees. Pretty much the other ones are balls or strikes. I think he's a high ball umpire. I will say that he's not calling the low pitch, and that may just be his style. And that's why I said back in the first, that's what the first couple innings are about. What's he going to call if you're pitching, and if you're a hitter, can I trust him that I know his strike zone, or at least I have an idea of what it is, because it's Larry Vanover strikeouts, strike zone that counts.
Santander runs. The 3-2 is poked foul, nearly fair down the line.
Well, there's a good slider, and you stay alive by bat control. And the good hitters, the good hitting teams, that's what they do. Now, you may end up driving one, but it's only because you're going to react to it. You're going to cover the outside part of the plate, and you're going to be able to trust your hands to be able to hit the ball inside. And Trey did a great job of that last year.
So another 3-2 pitch coming to Mancini. And another foul ball, so he's having an extended at-bat.
Now, we'd go into Kansas City when they had Willie Wilson with 230 hits, and Amos Otis and Hal McRae, one of the best DHs, and George Brett on his way to Hall of Fame, and Al Cowens, and you'd throw the same kind of pitch there and they'd flick it foul, waiting for a better pitch to hit. And if you don't get it, you take the walk.
And another foul ball. So 3 consecutive foul balls on 3-2.
And then Jordan knows who's on deck with Pedro Alvarez. And
well, Zimmerman with the Nationals was 20 games above 500. He was 70-50 in his 7 seasons with the Nats, with a very respectable ERA of 3.32.
And he did it all after Tommy John surgery, too.
3-2 is bounced towards third. There's Candelario. Right to him. He gets it across. Mancini is retired. And that will end the second. But the Orioles do get the lead. Leadoff double by Adam Jones. And Chris Davis goes opposite field. His second of the year puts the O's on top. The Reds. So the first managerial casualty of the year, Jim Riggleman, named the interim skipper. Danny Darwin and Pat Kelly have both joined the staff. And at this time, we felt change was needed to happen in order to begin the process of getting this team back on the right track. We realize it's early in the season, but feel it's important to be proactive. All that from general manager Dick Williams. So Jim Riggleman, the interim skipper, with John Farrell being over there now, the former Red Sox manager. That was the speculation, but that's not the move, at least yet.
Yeah. Well, of course, Jim Riggleman, Chicago, Washington, certainly has a track record of being successful. Has been around the game forever, it seems. A relatively young guy. 3-15 will maybe make some changes.
Well, they are rebuilding, but without a doubt underachieving early on. And they're in a tough division in that NL Central. Especially with the Pirates off to the unexpected good start. 1-1 on McCann, leading off in the second.
Yeah, so look at Alex Cobb. He's always had that kind of distinctive, and what's the front foot, his left foot. He kind of comes up and holds it. And when you used to see Jeremy Hellickson, who's now pitching with the Nats, as a matter of fact, it looked like he almost copied it identically.
Well, Alex Cobb, one of the many high school pitchers that Tampa Bay drafted over the years. He was their 4th round pick back in 2006. And what the Rays do is they bring along those high school pitchers very, very slowly as they try to master each level before getting to St. Petersburg. And if you look at Cobb's career, Jim, he pitched in 98 minor league games before he finally made his big league debut 5 years after he was drafted. And that is standard in the Tampa Bay organization. That's their philosophy. They did the same with Hellickson.
Unless you're David Price.
Well, one of the few college pitchers they took, yeah.
But if you're high school. Well, he knows how to pitch, and because of the Tommy John, probably lost a mile or two on the fastball. Maybe some arm speed, which is what the splitter, or his change splits about. See, and he thought he might get the strike, but the one thing about Larry Vanover, he is not. If you look at our Mercedes pitch count, he's not giving you this pitch. Now, is that going to help Alex Cobb? Obviously not. Chance SISCO did everything to catch it properly. It's going to be a high strike, and I don't know if you want to pitch out, and we saw him do it to Castellanos. You want to pitch up in the zone, but you don't want to be doing it when you're 3-2 with a 1-1 run lead, leading off an inning. You want to do it when you're ahead in the count.
Now 3-2 on McCann. Payoff pitches bounced Beckham wide of the bag. He spins and throws, and safe as the foot came off the base. So Beckham cutting in front of Manny.
Yeah, tough throw because you got to do a 180 to get it back. You can see Chris Davis trying to stay on. McCann says, I might get a base hit, and I do. Can't imagine that's going to be an error. It was a very difficult play.
And it is an error.
They give him an error? Oh, I'll tell you what, whoever the scorer is never played, never hit. If he lets that ball go, man, he catches it, and he's in short left field. That is not a routine play. Either way, he gets to first.
Jacoby Jones shows bunt, takes a strike. Jones getting back-to-back starts in left field. Nico Goodrum, who started in the first game in left field, he's slumping a bit, so Ron Gardenhire goes to Jones, who brings a lot of speed to the lineup.
Does he ever?
Well, what's encouraging is Cobb is getting ground balls. Unfortunately, 3 ground balls have found their way to base hits. Martinez ground ball up the middle to begin the game in the bottom of the first. Candelario's ground ball to right. And now the bouncer to the left side, where a good throw gets McCann. And another ground ball finds the hole as Jones hits it to left. So the error opens the inning, and now first and second with nobody out. Well, today the Orioles announced a season-long schedule of new theme nights at Oriole Park, featuring a variety of unique celebrations, promotions, and giveaway items, including the Sandlot Movie Night, Yoga at the Yard, LGBT Pride Night, and more. For ticket packages to any of these special events, visit Orioles.com/theme nights. So Alex Cobb in another jam. In the first inning, the first 2 reached, 1 scored. Now first and second, nobody out.
Well, they're certainly playing in where they're anticipating maybe a bunt. Not that he will.
Ball 1 to Jose Iglesias.
And off to a slow start. Very good year for him last year. Career high in doubles and average. Good offensive. You could see 2 for 8 with a double. It went down the left field line.
Ball 2. Cobb is trying to center on that outside corner at the knees, and he keeps missing or not getting the calls, depending on your perspective.
Well, it is what it is, and what it is that he's not going to get the low strike. Vanover hadn't called one yet.
Ground ball and a base hit down the left field line. It hugged the line. Here's McCann around the score. Mancini having trouble with the carom. Jones coming to the plate. The throw is not in time, and all the way to third goes Iglesias.
Yeah, I think what happens is, number one, you get into hitters' counts, and when you're not in shape, and this is not because it's because of inactivity, you just don't have that little bit of extra. So you can see how quick the bat is. He's looking fastball. Mancini does not hit the cutoff man, something he does. And that allows Jose Iglesias to get all the way to third base. So they get the lead, they get a runner at third, and nobody. So you're not playing here. And that's, again, he's looking for his pitch. He gets his pitch. It might not have that late finish that you would when you're in season form versus in the middle of spring training, because that's what this is for Alex Cobb. And he accelerated because of the late signing.
Number 9 batter Dixon Machado, yesterday's hero.
And that should be an error on Mancini because he wasn't going. He missed the cutoff, man. He wasn't going to third. And now all of a sudden Machado hit with the walk-off yesterday. That was his first home run, or second home run in 328 at bats. An article in the morning paper said, I was walking up to home plate dreaming, what if I hit a walk-off home run? And he did.
Whoa.
Another one of those borderline pitches, but today it's going to be a ball.
Orioles have the infield drawn in, runner at third and nobody out. Well, no error charge to Mancini, by the way. The runner Iglesias goes to third on the throw home. 3-1 on Machado. And there's a walk.
Yeah, that's a splitter, and again, it didn't do anything. Yeah, Roger McDowell, the Oriole pitching coach, going to come out and have a little bit of conference.
Well, here's Roger McDowell for an early chat. He's going to try to calm down Cobb, who kept looking over towards the bench when he wasn't getting those outside corner calls from Larry Vanover.
Well, I think it's frustrating for him. It's frustrating for everybody, and he's certainly not where he wants to be. You can see right here, 50% fastball or strikes to balls, and hitters counts, hitting the ball in the middle of the plate. That's not the way he usually pitches. But today he is pitching that way.
Iglesias is at third and Dixon Machado at first following the walk. So the Orioles get the lead and Tigers come right back and take it. Here's Martin, who singled and scored in the first. Gets a fastball by him, 0-1. Now the Orioles up the middle. If they can get 2, they'll let that run score from third. Beckham and Davis would have a choice. They're pinching, with Davis holding the bag at first. Pop foul out of play, so he gets ahead of him 0-2.
See, there's the splitter, and if you went back to yesterday's game, Kevin Gausman throws harder, but he struck him out on the same pitch. So different count. Let's see. Because Martin, when he does play, last full year, he struck out 149 times and 518 at bats for the Mariners. So he's a strikeout guy, free swinger.
Cobb ahead 0-2.
And I didn't go for the splitter. went down. Probably threw it where he wanted to, but didn't chase.
Strike 3 called. He got the inside corner, and Martin does not agree.
Yeah, he thinks it's inside. It's one of these pitches. It's certainly high enough. Let's take a look right here. It runs back a little bit. And anytime you move your glove, it probably could have been a little bit inside. So he thinks it's inside, but he gets called out.
So now double play ends the inning and keeps this a one-run game. Here's Candelario, who contributed in the rally in the first with a base hit. And a strike.
Another splitter. And I think when you get to pitch the third game of any series, especially with young hitters like Jeimer Candelario, you know what he can hit. He's hit the high fastball. So you got a curveball, you have the splitter, which he just threw. You want to stay away from that.
There's a chopper into the hole and a base hit in the left field past the dive of Luis Sardinas. So Candelario has a couple of hits. This one drives in a run, and Detroit's lead is now 4-2.
Well, he gets a fastball to hit, and you think he may get an out. Very fast infield here. And been covered a lot, not a lot of moisture.
Well, this is very disappointing for Cobb because he keeps getting ground balls and they keep finding holes.
Yeah, he didn't even have the glove where the ball was. It wasn't an easy play. So it all started with the questionable error by the third baseman, and now you got a guy that you know can really hit coming to the plate.
Cabrera popped foul to Davis at first, his first at bat. He is a .363 career hitter against the Orioles. A little late on the swing there, it looked. 0-2.
Well, he'll trick you, and I think right here he's using the middle of the field. You know, it is April. He's not off to a great start. I mean, 255 for him is, what's that, 45, 62 points lower than his lifetime batting average. So he'll use the middle of the field with the best of them. And boy, you'd love to get a double play ball here.
0-2 on Cabrera. This is slowly hit. No way they'll get two on this, and it rolls right past Beckham.
Yeah, you cannot play that ball with your bare hand. I mean, you're not Manny Machado. You got to come in. You don't have a guy that's running very hard. You have to make sure you field the ball. Not an easy play. You got plenty of time. Look where he is. So again, the first error was questionable. It's just such a hard play because the ball's rolling too hard, and that loads him up.
By the way, the official scorer credited Iglesias with a triple, even though from our view he went to third on the throw home.
Well, that's because Mancini threw it, kited it, yeah.
So now the Tigers with 3 runs in, a chance to break it open with Castellanos up.
Yeah, one of those innings for Alex Cobb, and of course he's been around long enough. Very frustrating because he's made good pitches and had bad results. He's made bad pitches and had bad results. And this guy can hit, and he can hit because he's a little bit like J.D. Martinez, who is now with the Red Sox.
Ground ball to third. Beckham bobbles it to second one, back to first. No throw back to first, and another run scores. So they do force Cabrera at second, but the RBI ground out gets another run in.
Well, it's a routine double play, but if you don't catch it, it's an out. And it's as simple as that. You know, the Orioles had the best third baseman in baseball. They moved him to shortstop. and he wanted to play there. And now you have Beckham, who's actually on occasion has been really good, but it's a tough position. And the ball gets to you much quicker than when you're playing the middle infielders. And we've seen at this inning that there are going to be days where he's not Manny Machado because there is only one Manny.
So all of a sudden it's a 4-run inning and the Tigers lead it 5-2, and here's Martinez as they've batted around. So the inability to turn the double play not only keeps the inning going, another run came in.
And Victor has had a great series. 3 hits the first night. Hit a home run with the wind to left field. One over the bag, dumped another ball. Yesterday, when they came back from a 4-2 deficit after the double by Castellanos off of O'Day, dumped another single into left field. So he'll hit it where it's pitched. And then he almost missed a home run off of Gosman. Hit a high skied one to deep right field on the warning track. So for 39, looks like he's still swinging the bat pretty well. Not to mention that he is a switch hitter, so he can turn around if you bring in a lefty.
A ball and a strike on Victor, who drove in a run with a single his first at bat, and then Candelario ran into an out at third base to end the inning. Still has that good eye. He rarely chases.
Well, he knows what he wants to hit. He'll sit on pitches. You know, you think, well, maybe that's not that quick, but all of a sudden, if he's looking for a fastball in a fastball count like here, all of a sudden he can really get the bat going. But he's not afraid to drive it the other way, which makes him, I mean, he's 298 lifetime batting average.
Runners at first and third, and the 2-1 is a little low. And you can see the frustration with Cobb on the mound.
Yeah, that's kind of where you want to live, but not today because of the umpiring of Hanover. I mean, that's his strike zone is he's a high ball umpire. Would have been my type of guy. You know, you want the high pitch. Yeah, there's a good splitter. They're trying to somehow get out of this inning.
Tough inning for Beckham. Charged with an error and then couldn't make the play on the Cabrera dribbler. Mike Wright now getting loose here in the second inning. 33 pitches already thrown by Cobb this inning. And the 3-2 is ripped to deep right center field. Back it goes, and that ball is caught by Adam Jones on the warning track. He had it all the way. He deked us. Wow. He just glided back to it and makes the catch on the warning track. So Adam Jones saves the day and gets the O's out of the inning. Tigers score 4 and take a 5-2 lead. now have a 5-2 lead, so they've scored in each inning against Alex Cobb. So Zimmerman, who got out of the second inning, Orioles had 2 runs in first and third and only 1 out and couldn't get another run. Well, he'll go to work here. Pedro Alvarez, Manny Machado, and Adam Jones.
Well, you got a guy on the mound if you're looking for a little bit of hope that came in with an 8.18 ERA. And in the last game, he got hit by the line drive, so that was aborted early. So he's hittable. Came in with, what, 11 innings, 15 hits, 10 runs. So coming off a year where he gave up over 6 runs a game. Did have a good spring. Might have to win a slugfest here.
Off speed, swings through it. In his first 3 starts, the Tigers scored 5 runs for Zimmerman in his 11 innings he was in the game. They've given him 5 already today, and that's upstairs, and a good eye by Pedro, who continues to really work the count.
Well, when if you end up walking the second hitter to get to 3, 4, and 5 with a 3-run lead.
Got him to pop up again. McCann is coming back. And reaches in and nearly falls over. That was some effort.
Well, you have the screens, but there's a little, I guess it's probably
for the camera well.
For the camera well, that where you have a little ability where you can reach around, which he does, and still maintain his balance. A terrific effort. Didn't miss it by much. Right there, get to the wall. Ooh. And then, I mean, almost. Because if you go down the right, I mean, you're going to have a long fall. You're into the stands right there to his left.
So a nice effort by McCann. Ripped right to first base, and Cabrera with a nifty grab. And he goes to the bag unassisted, 1 down. So it popped out of the glove, right into his hand, just as he planned it.
That's what he did yesterday. Knocked one down at first. Put his left foot on the bag and picked it up with his right foot and got it out. Little cutter and a little short up. Not an easy play. Gave you a very used first baseman mitt, glove. Probably a glove, right? A mitt.
Yeah.
Outfield.
Yeah. First baseman's glove. It's a catcher's mitt. First baseman's glove. Here's Manny. All outside. Machado hit a comebacker his first at bat. Zimmerman 3-4 in his career against the O's. He did beat them last year, the only time he saw them, but ironically Chris Davis hit a 2-run home run in that game, and he's already done that here. 2-0 on Machado, 1 out, nobody on. Manny looking to extend the hitting streak to 7 straight games. Like Mancini, he's been consistent. Manny has hits in 14 of the Orioles' 18 games.
Yeah, there was one just a smidgen away from another base hit. Great swing. And the other thing, I mean, your best runner in scoring position number is Manny coming in at 389. Solid start. Much different than last year, where into the middle of May was hitting in the 215s. Using the whole field. Home runs will come. He already has 3.
That ball's hit deep to left field. That has a chance, and that ball is gone. Machado hits it out. Well, the O's back within 2.
Well, I can't wait to see the exit velocity on this smash. I mean, this ball is just walloped. So 112. And young man,
I think he missed it.
He did. So we can't give him a contract, as Rex Barney used to say. I mean, this ball is just crushed. The one thing about Jordan Zimmermann, he cannot pitch in the middle of the plate with 92 to 93. 92 miles per hour is your average fastball. So the youngster, he doesn't catch it, so he's disappointed.
I'm sure one of the Orioles relievers will retrieve that ball for him. Supporting his team. Jones fouls it back this way, 0-1. Well, congratulations again to our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, Nicholas Allen Jr. of Westminster. Another $500, courtesy of the Manny Machado home run. So a couple of long balls already for the O's today.
Yep, slugfest all over it, Jim. Battle of the bullpens.
Oh.
And Miggy Cabrera down at first says, no, that's what I do.
So he did get a baseball from the bullpen after a nice effort. Plus, he's an O's fan, supporting his team out there.
You got to be ready for those line drives. Were you here when Prince Fielder hit one to deep right center over the Heilman Manny Manouche sign, 460 feet away, and the guy caught it and then dropped it?
I don't recall that.
It was a monumental home run. Adams trying to hit one of those monumental home runs right there on a low slider. Yeah, this is the pitch he's going to have to be able to get over, and does there.
Zimmermann had not allowed a home run in his first 3 starts, covering just 11 innings, because he was knocked out in the first inning in his last start. Good take by Adam. He doesn't chase, ball 3. 2 home runs here today, and it's 5-3. And how about this, Jim? It's up to 47 degrees.
Are you trying to get me to open my window?
No, you do what you want. You're in the Hall of Fame. Defensive swing skied to right. Castellanos is there. And he has it for the second out. Well, fans, after Sunday's home game against Cleveland, it is time for Kids Run the Bases, presented by Wise Markets. Watch your kids' big league dreams come true. All fans ages 4 to 14 can run the Oriole Park bases just like their heroes. It's always a lot of fun, so come out and join us. Daytime baseball at 1:05 on Sunday. For your tickets, Orioles.com. That happy fan out there. There's a souvenir.
Yeah, Jordan Zimmermann after the fastball for a home run. I'll probably don't throw my curveball a whole lot, but might have to try that pitch. Let's see if he tries to crowd him. Now they're going away again. Another breaking ball.
Davis opposite field 2-run home run in the second. His second of the year. Now it's 5 RBIs. It's his first multi-RBI game of the year with the 2.
And there's a slider that hangs, but he swings through it.
And again, the Tigers with this defense, they're playing on the pull in the infield to hit it the other way in the outfield. Strike 3 called on the high strike call. Davis does not agree. Zimmermann gets the call, but the Orioles do get one back. Manny Machado with a massive home run to deep left center field, his 4th. 5-3 Detroit. And Andrew Susak off to a very good start at AAA Norfolk.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Traded from Milwaukee, player to be named later. I'm not sure I want to give him a player now when he's hitting 385. But anyway, yeah, we saw him in spring training. It looks like he has a pretty good bat. He played in the major leagues, actually, 250 at-bats with 7 home runs, so a little bit of pop. Also got Austin Wynns. You have a number of catchers that look pretty good in spring training, coming off good years.
Here is James McCann against Cobb. He led off the second inning rally, reaching on an error by Beckham.
So maybe with the shift on, maybe we'll have an easy inning or a quicker inning.
"34 pitches for Cobb in that second inning. Tigers eventually batted around.
And I think if you're Buck Showalter, you want him to get the work, but you also want to win. As you mentioned, 50 pitches, 20 balls, 30 strikes. So you're within 2. It looks like you're going to get some runs off of Zimmerman.
Into the shift.
Wow.
Manny played a tough in-between hop there. Wow.
Well, the infield's very fast. I mean, big ballpark, so Texas, of course, the ball may be ball's carrying well here, even though it's been cold, but just quick infield. So the routine ground ball, because of the speed, is not routine. Yeah, so 111. Now you know why everybody wants to get the ball in the air.
For once in this game, a ground ball finds a fielder.
Or a fielder finds a ground ball.
It was hit right at him. He found it.
No, I'm saying there's been some balls that could have been played and worked. So
rip foul down the line. Jacoby Jones, he singled and scored in the second. He scored all the way from first base on what was ruled very generously, I feel, a triple to Iglesias. So Cobb now trying to have a shutdown inning. Tigers have scored in each of their first 2 at-bats. Perfect pitch, 1-2. Tigers got Jones at the trade deadline in 2015. They sent Joaquin Soria to Pittsburgh. Strike 3.
Yeah, a little running 2-seam fastball. Comes back, catches the outside corner. Take a look at our Nissan pitch track. That's what Alex Cobb's about. Glove on the corner. He gives up. And SISCO just presents the ball, and you got your second out.
That's a perfect pitch. Hitter gives up on it and tails back in. Hitters never think they're wrong. Well, it was outside. Here's Iglesias. Breaking ball for a strike.
And a good one. Yeah, tripled or doubled, whatever you want to call it, right over the bag on a 2-0 pitch. Fastball inside.
Another ground ball. Right field, that's playable for Santander. He's got it, and Alex Cobb does in fact have the shutdown inning. Tigers go 3 up, 3 down in the third. Visit buyatoyota.com for great deals. Comerica Park in Detroit, 5-3. Total of 12 hits already, and a big error in that second inning that led to a couple of unearned runs. So Zimmerman has allowed runs in the last 2 innings, and the Orioles trying to chip back closer, down by 2. 56 pitches to get through 3 innings. Alex Cobb just had a 9-pitch third, so he's at 57. Sardinas, Beckham, and Santander for the O's here in the 4th. Sardinas with the dramatic home run in the 9th to tie the game yesterday. Switch hitter from the left side today, so that dramatics earned him a start.
Well, it did, and again, because of the scope injury, somebody has to play. Yeah, Shane Green, a couple of late fastballs, and then comes back with a slider, and it's just hittable only because of the speed. Drops the bat on it. 5-4 becomes 5-5. Oh. It's always nice when, as a manager, Buck Showalter didn't tell him he had a home run. Just go up there, get on base, and he did.
He did. 4 he circled them.
Well, 3 bases in the plate.
And Sardinas fights that one off.
Yeah, 441 at bats in the big leagues with 4 home runs, so obviously doesn't hit a lot of home runs. Major league average. Played with briefly with Texas, briefly with Milwaukee, briefly with Seattle, and then briefly with San Diego. Jim McCann's going over. Any ball to the right side. That's what you do. Everybody's screaming.
Remind that pitcher. Did they yell at you when you were on the mound? Okay.
They all do that.
Did you yell back?
No. Oh, there's your cutter. Perfect pitch outside corner. So no fastballs. Breaking balls, sliders, maybe a little bit off. And then right on the outside corner. High enough. Right to the eyes of Larry Vanover.
After the glove move that was high enough.
Well, I think we've seen that he won't call the low pitch. He will call the high pitch, and he will call some pitches off the plate. Martine would testify to that. Sardinas would say the same thing. And there is an art to it. I mean, if the catcher presents the glove and you get the ball, and a lot of pitching coach will keep track of that. How often do you actually throw it? Mark Wiley used to have color charts, and you know, the purple I think was the best. And then it was blue. I think the yellow was caution, where you never got it anywhere close to the glove. Usually you didn't pitch well those days. But you want to encourage the umpire. I think most umpires do want to call strikes. So the closer you can get it to the target, the better chance of doing that.
0-2 on Beckham. And he's down on strikes. Back-to-back Ks to begin the 4th.
The last time he hit a double, because that same pitch, and this might be more of a cut fastball because it's 88 versus maybe 84, it was on the strike zone. This time he starts it right on the corner, and then it ends up outside. And that's kind of been the book on Tim Beckham. You know, don't give him a fastball to hit. If you do, in on his hands, and then try to get him out with breaking balls. And Royals have seen some good enough pitchers that are able to do that.
Anthony Santander singled his first at bat. That'll be a reunion for Santander tomorrow with the Indians in town. The Orioles took him from the Indians organization a couple of winters ago. Zimmerman struck out 11 in his first 11 innings coming into today, and he's got 4 already. High foul. Might be playable for Cabrera, and it will. On the warning track, he's got it. Santander retired, and the Orioles go 3 up, 3 down for a second time. Mid-4th in Detroit, 5-3 Tigers. times. 1.5 million customers of Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority lost power on Wednesday morning when a crew that was working to help restore power in Puerto Rico accidentally knocked out electricity. Now, of course, the Indians and Twins were playing a 2-game series there at Hiram Bithorn Stadium, but that was back on the power grid by game time, while across the highway, apartment buildings and businesses disappeared in the dark except for a few lit windows. Puerto Rican natives Jose Barrios and Eddie Rosario had big games for the Twins. Barrios 7 scoreless innings. Rosario scored the winning run, and the Twins won 2-1 in 16 innings, the longest Major League game ever at that stadium.
Oh, yeah, that's where winter ball used to be played. San Juan.
You owned that place.
No, well, actually, that pretty good year. That's when I resurrected my career, but I played for Frank Robinson. He had an all-star team. Frank wanted to manage and would eventually. First African American manager with the Indians, I think, in '76. This was the winter of '68 going into '69. I mean, passionate fans. Loved the game. And I said the other night they'd be 24,000. It seemed now, I guess that they said it only held a little bit under 20,000, so they were sold out both games.
I enjoyed watching that last night. A lot of enthusiasm there.
Well, that young player, I saw in the notes Ryan Lamar, who made the Twins. He got the walk-off in the 16th inning. Carrasco, who he pitched, seven innings, I think of no runs. We'll see him when he comes to Baltimore.
Yep.
He's going to pitch on Monday night when the Indians come in. He's only given up 1 run in his last 21 2/3 innings.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, so he's struggling.
Orioles will see Bauer, Clevenger, Kluber, and Carrasco. 4-game holdover series, which will end on Monday night.
There's a splitter. Terrific. I mean, this is what you're going to see from Alex Cobb when he gets rhythm, when he gets into his pitch. He'll throw at any count. It changes speeds. It goes down. It's 85. So again, you think it's going to stay up. And you could see him get the foot down, trying to stay back. We saw that he can hit the fastball because that's what he hit the walk-off home run on. Didn't get that pitch to hit.
Third strikeout for Cobb. Here's Martin, the leadoff man. Right center field. Long run for Adam Jones. Still running it down, and he can't get there, and it's over his head. And Martin can fly. He is heading to third, and he'll be held at third with a triple. Fans wanted an inside the park home run, but with 1 down, that's the right call by Dave Clark.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure. He was running pretty hard between first and second. I don't know how well. I mean, he's kind of, he can run, but he's not full sprint. So when that ball goes over his head, I mean, this is not really airing it out. Now, all of a sudden, this is when he becomes a sprinter, but it's too late. If he comes out of the box quickly, fans would have probably gotten what they wanted, because he hit it so high. And again,
well, Adam already has run 1 down in this game. That was the final out of the second.
Yeah, I think playing a little more shallow with LEONYS Martin, even though he hit 15 home runs a couple of years ago. So now, because of the scoreboard, you got to bring your infield in. In this road trip, 0-5, they've done this too often.
This ball's hit to deep left center field. Mancini, a long run back. Look at the carry on this one, and it's gone the opposite way. Jeimer Candelario, a 3-hit game. He hits a home run. He's got 3 ribbies, and the Tigers add to their lead.
Well, they got young last year, and Alex Avila, Justin Wilson, who was their closer, he goes over to the Chicago Cubs, and Candelario comes the other way. He can hit the fastball, and there it is. You think it's only going to be extra base hits, but with the ball a little bit more lively, wind blowing out, turns out this ball sails right out of here. You knew Mancini, because he's playing pretty much straight away, is not going to catch it, but no idea that ball was going to be a home run.
Candelario, a perfect 3 for 3 today.
Well, they got 4 home runs yesterday. Out homer the Orioles 4-2, and he hit one of them.
Yeah, that was their season high in a game. They had hit 5 home runs for the season in their first 13 games. And they hit 5 home runs in the first 2 games in this series. And they hit another one here today, and Mike Wright again begins to get loose. One and two on Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, I'm sure Candelaria was just trying to get it in the air. Got a pitch he could do. I think in sacrifice fly, and the next thing you know, he's got another home run. And as you mentioned, two singles and a dinger. Nice little afternoon, and it's early.
Foul tip at the plate. Cabrera stays alive. So a tough start to his Orioles career for Alex Cobb. You know, and you wonder if minor league baseball had cooperated with the Orioles, as Buck Showalter told the media that they asked permission when Cobb was still assigned to Bowie to use Major League Baseballs in a game, and it was denied. And because the laces are different, the Orioles were concerned. You know, Jim, as you mentioned, Cobb has had Tommy John surgery. You don't want to develop blisters, and you know, a game or two at Bowie may have been beneficial.
Well, the reality is it's the middle of spring training, but you're playing big league games and they count. One against the Red Sox, hottest team in baseball, and this one, the team that swung the bat really well. You know, and right here, I mean, there's approach. You got a guy that's headed to the Hall of Fame. He's going to get 3,000 hits and 500 home runs, and won 4 batting titles and a Triple Crown. Last guy to do that. He's a tough out, and you got to be perfect. Got to make your pitches.
Goes against the shift on a hanger, and he's on.
And he's made a living doing that. You know, you just can't. And that's, you know, it's not a horrible curveball, but it stays up just enough that, you know, he's got enough leverage. And again, the approach, the ability to hit it back up the middle where nobody's playing, is going to force Buck Showalter to come out, bring in Mike Wright.
So a tough couple of starts to begin his Orioles career for Alex Cobb. He exits. Mike Wright comes on in a 7-3 game.
In and out fast, and you never need an appointment. Well, Mike Wright Jr. on second time, pitched up in Boston. What did he do? Let's see, 2 1/3 inning, couple of hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. So again, this will be his 4th appearance as a long man, and yet to actually started 2 games, one in New York where he had trouble getting out of the first inning. So Alex Cobb Kind of shaking his head, going, "That's not what I had in plan." Didn't get the strikes early. Wasn't particularly sharp, and the Tigers made him pay for it.
Here's Castellanos. Ball one outside. Castellanos, RBI and a ground out. The Orioles unable to turn 2 on the play. That was in the second inning rally. Here's a perfect pitch in the outside corner.
Yeah, change up, occasional curveball, cutter, which is he used very well. Actually pitched pretty well in Houston. Did not get a win. And then the fastball, 2-seam, 4-seam. Wow.
Well, his 2 starts were in Houston and in New York on the Orioles' first road trip. And then he was moved to the bullpen when Alex Cobb came back on Saturday in Boston. He worked Friday in Boston, 2 2/3, and allowed only 1 run, so his second relief appearance.
Yeah, there's a good slider. Yeah, to me, this is a tremendous opportunity. If you're going to pitch, and that usually means that the starter didn't pitch well, and that's been the case. If Chris Tillman in his next start doesn't pitch well, they're going to be looking for a 5th starter. So this is a chance to pitch multiple innings, which is what he did in Boston, 2 2/3. Show him you can use all your pitches, throw strikes, keep your team in the game, which is the important thing. There's a nice pitch there, but looks like it's going to be out of play. And make Roger McDowell, the pitching coach, and Buck Showalter saying, hey, I can get through hitters twice, which is what he could do in this game. Because he did start some games in spring training, and as you mentioned, pitched well in Houston. Only held them to 3 runs. I mean, it's hard. The Orioles just don't win down there. They've lost their 9 in a row. I think 11 out of 13 when they go to Houston, defending world champs. So big opportunity.
2-2 on Castellanos, with Cabrera at first and 1 down. Just off the plate. Cabrera does not run, and it's popped up. Here comes Santander, chugging in from right field. And he's got it for the second out. Cabrera back to first. Fans get breaking Orioles news as it happens by checking out MASNsports.com. Visit our site for the latest headlines from Rat Kabatko and Steve Molesky. Don't miss an O's story. Check out MASNsports.com. A lot of woolen hats on the bench.
Yeah, Andrew Kashner talking to Alex Cobb.
A 2-way. Here's Victor Martinez. Martinez always a tough out for the Orioles. Against the shift, there's Manny. Long throw across. Got him! Machado gets Martinez at first. Outstanding play as Martinez was going against the shift, and Manny got his man. Tigers add 2, Stram 1. We are through 4, 7-3 Detroit.
right there, triple down the line by Iglesias. Mancini misses a cutoff man. Just seems like a little bit out of reach for some balls, and then when you do, Beckham's going to try to barehand it, can't do it. And then a double play ball that won't be turned. They will get the force out. So one of those days with the Tigers with 7 runs, the Orioles with 3, Chris Davis with a 2-run home run. Those are your Geico highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
Chance SISCO will lead off, and he'll look at a strike. Mancini on deck, then Pedro Alvarez. SISCO struck out his first at bat, looking to snap what is now an 0 for 8. Right to the second baseman. There's Dixon Machado. A couple of pitches and 1 down. Well, fans, we invite you to plan your summer at Oriole Park with a Birdland ticket membership. Birdland ticket members always pay the lowest available price, a savings of up to 15% when compared to single game tickets. Plus, members receive exclusive orange carpet benefits. Visit Orioles.com to find the membership plan that is right for you. 1 down on the ground down. Here's Trey. And he'll look at a strike. Trey has grounded out twice, looking to extend his hitting streak to 7 straight. Detroit has now out-hit the Orioles 10-5. Mancini does not agree with that call.
Yeah, it's not about the height, it's whether it was on the plate or not. So wide plate, high strike zone. It's just what it is. Now, does it make it easier to hit? Nope. And because it forces you to swing at that pitch. And it's frustrating, but to Jordan Zimmerman's credit, he makes the pitch. It's been around long enough. Slider just off the plate, perfectly thrown, helped by the ump, took advantage of it.
Pedro Alvarez now 2 quick outs.
Yeah, Buck Scholler was talking today in his news conference about how the plate, a little different strike zone now, because normally it's a strike zone's maybe more vertical than horizontal. Today it's vertical about height, and then a little bit more horizontal because there are some pitches off the plate.
Except in the first 2 innings it wasn't.
Well, that he just didn't call the low pitch. Yeah. He was consistently whatever you want to call it on those pitches.
So Zimmerman keeps going further out. He figures, what the heck?
That's what you do. You know, he's a command guy, as you mentioned. You know, he knows how to pitch. He's coming off a bad year, trying to get his first win, and right there, a little cutter.
3 up, 3 down. Zimmerman has retired 8 consecutive O's. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Barbara Bush, who passed away. At the ballpark in downtown as well here in Detroit. So Mike Wright back to work. He retired the 2 batters that he saw. And there's a base hit up the middle. It got by Sardinas. It's amazing how many ground balls are finding holes here for the Tigers.
Well, that, you know, exit velocity has a lot to do with whether you're going to catch him or not. I mean, he's playing right there. Doesn't get a great jump. Jonathan Scope would have said, that's a vanilla ice cream. I'm going to just catch it. I'm going to be putting it in my mouth. You know, Sardinas doesn't get a good jump. Maybe he didn't see it. That ball's hit at 105 miles per hour. Matthew Boyd yesterday pitched very well for them. You know what? The average exit velocity of the Oriole hitters was 83 miles per hour.
This ball's towards the gap. Adam Jones won't have a play. Softly hit and it finds a hole. So Jacoby Jones is on. And back-to-back hits off Mike Wright to begin the Tigers' 5th inning. On Sunday, this past Sunday, the Orioles honored Jackie Robinson. Each player and coach wore Jackie's number 42. Go online, Orioles.com/auctions, and you can bid on these autographed and authenticated game-worn jerseys and hats. All the proceeds will benefit the Orioles Charitable Foundation and the Jackie Robinson Foundation. Bidding closes April 21st at 10 p.m. Visit Orioles.com/auctions for your bids. There's Jackie's number 42.
Yeah, they don't. Beckham playing behind the bag, so they're not anticipating. I don't care if it's 7-3. You want to get runners over. If he bunts, he could beat it out. He has exceptional speed. Not stealing bases, but he could run. I remember when he came up with the Red Sox, there was no such thing as a routine high hopper in the infield.
Breaking ball hung, but he was out in front.
Yeah, a little bit like the one John Hicks for the hit for the 3-run home run, except it wasn't quite inside as much.
5 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
Through the first 4 innings. It's a lot of opportunities.
They've scored 7. They've also stranded 4 runners.
That's a balk. Started his windup, stopped it, didn't step off. They get a break right there.
Ground ball towards the hole. Manny has it. The flip to second, not in time.
Yeah, that's because Beckham didn't go back to third. And I always wondered why when Belanger would do that, Brooks Robinson, who won 16 Gold Gloves, would be somehow situated. So not the, again, the unfamiliarity. You know, only have one play right here. You know, it's not a great pitch with 2 strikes. See how Beckham doesn't even go back to the
Manny
bag?
looked at him there.
Yeah, well, that's the only play he had because of the speed of Iglesias. Well, this is one of these days where in a game where you wanted to win, Cobb doesn't pitch well. The infield, not Manny, because he made a play at shortstop about as good as you can make. But we're seeing the inexperience factor with Beckham at third. And with the fact that Scope is out, not playing particularly well at second base either.
Oh, that hit him. Breaking ball slipped out of his hand, and that'll force in a run. So Machado gets an RBI the hard way.
Yeah, but at least it's a curveball. But again, the wind's blowing and the ball's slick. This is a curveball. I mean, out of his hand, it's going to hit somebody. You know, if you're going to get plunked, we're going to get plunked in the 70s at 90. Yeah, the one thing we haven't seen from Mike Wright is what we saw when he first came to the Orioles is pretty good velocity on the fastball. You know, now it's more like 91, 92, and maybe it's the weather. I mean, that's, you know, he threw it, but he flew open so much. That's a fastball that kind of backed up at 89.
Yeah, he was 97, 98 when he made his debut.
I still remember the first game where his first start was against the LA Angels, and he struck out Mike Trout in the first inning at 98.
Popped up. It's going to find its way back in the crowd. Martinez had a good day. Singled and scored in the first, tripled and scored in the fourth. Mike Wright on the relief of Alex Cobb, who lasted 3 1/3, 7 runs, 5 earned. A tough second start for Alex Cobb. That ball is crushed to deep right field. Back it goes, and that is a grand slam. And the Tigers are now laying it on the Birds. It is a 12-3 game.
Well, the dreaded grand slam. Yeah, we take a look right here, late on the fastball. We talk about speeding up the bat. We saw it yesterday. Sardinas was able to do it off of their closer. Slider right in the middle of the plate. So 86. He had just taken 90 and fouled it the other way. So it speeds up the bat, gives him a pitch he could drive. And 4 runs on the board for the Tigers. Boy, are they doing a nice job offensively.
First career grand slam, and it comes against Mike Wright. So LEONYS Martin is a double shy of the cycle in this game. He already has the more difficult hit to get the triple.
Well, in this ballpark, it's probably less difficult than any other park in baseball, because it's so ample in the alleys.
There's another base hit for Candelario. They can't get him out. Santander hustling over to keep it to a single. Throw is offline, but he has a real strong arm. He's going to have to work in the accuracy. But he did hustle over to keep it to a single. Roger McDowell out for a chat. So 6 consecutive batters have reached here to begin the inning.
Well, I think this is going to be a meeting about, hey, I need you because Cleveland's coming in. Now, they can add another arm and they can send people out. Buck Showalter talked about it before the game. You know, we don't want to send guys out, especially if they pitched well. I don't want to use my whole bullpen, but, you know, we're going to have to a little bit. Rujo, who yesterday came in and threw, what, 2 pitches? A walk-off is going to get loose. It's not what you want when you're going to play the Indies. Rujo. So, you know, Pedro's getting loose out there, and I'm sure Roger's saying, hey, we need some outs. I mean, pitch. It's not always easy to do, but pitched over the weekend in Boston. And as you can, all you got to do is look at the scoreboard, and Tigers are pretty comfortable coming to the plate.
Well, 7 of the 9 Tigers have base hits. Here's Cabrera. Candelario, who's on at first, as SISCO does a nice job there. He has 4 hits.
Real nice job.
Castellanos is 0 for 3, but he has an RBI and a ground out. And Dixon Machado is 0 for 1, but he's also walked and scored, hit by a pitch with the bases loaded, and then came around in the grand slam. So they have been getting production up and down this lineup. Cabrera has 2 hits.
Yeah, and Chance Sisco saying, I think I'm putting down the wrong fingers today. Oh, boy, that can kind of shake your confidence as a young catcher.
5 of the 9 hitters have multi-hit games for Detroit.
And this is not about Chance Sisco. This is about not making quality pitches, and the Tigers taking advantage of it. Porous defense behind them. Yeah, the Orioles come in here. They were, what, 5 and 11. The Tigers were 4 and 9. Hadn't played over the weekend because of the weather. If you're an Oriole fan, you're going, what an opportunity. If you're a Tiger fan, you go, what an opportunity. And they've taken advantage of it.
Deep short. Manny gets the out there. Sardinas back to first, and not in time. As the throw pulled Sardinas to the other side of the bag, but they get the lead runner for the first out.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem that there's a lot of easy outs. So, you know, we've seen a couple, but they're almost all. I mean, that's a tough play by Machado. And again, he's got to make sure he gets 1 out. Yeah. You know, Luis Sardinas, he does try to throw it over because he knows the lack of speed from Miguel Cabrera.
Here's Castellanos. That's the first out this inning. Popped up to shallow right. Santander was deep. Comes in on it, and he gets there for the out. 2 down. Cabrera back to first. Well, Victor Martinez now will come up, and the Tigers, for a second time in this game, have batted around. Checks a swing on the breaking ball.
Yeah, I think a little change up, and I'm sure that's what Roger McDowell said. Hey, use all your pitches. You want to make 90 to 92, which is what he's topping out of your fastball better. Throw that change up with it, which he just did. He does have a curveball. That's what he hit Machado with. And there's a slider. Oh!
No, 1-1 the count. Mike Wright trying to get out of this inning. Tigers have added 5 to break it open.
And I remember reading the Indians press guide when Victor Martinez came through their minor league as a catcher. AA, most valuable player. AAA, most valuable player. And then, of course, he got to the big leagues, eventually went to the Red Sox, came over here, went back in 2011. Had a terrific hitting career. Knee problems, so pretty much the DH.
This is the final year of the 4-year extension that they gave him for $68 million. 16th season in the big leagues. 7 times he's hit at least 20 home runs. Two and two the count on him. Overthrows. 3-2.
Yeah, when you look at Miguel Cabrera, who down at first with the 4 batting titles and the 2 MVPs and the Triple Crown, and then you look at Victor Martinez. If you're a young player, and the Tigers have a lot of those, because this is a rebuilding phase, all you got to do is look at the way these guys approach hitting. Do they use the whole field? Do they look for pitches? Do they set up pitchers sometimes?
Well, they have 3 seasoned veterans with Cabrera, Castellanos, and Martinez. So even though it is a rebuild, it's not a total rebuild. Of course, Victor may or may not be back next year as his contract expires. He'll turn 40 for next season. Cabrera will go 3-2 with 2 down. And another foul ball. Incredible.
Well, I always thought that Victor Martinez, and the way he sprays the ball around the field and look for pitches when it gets into counts, it's almost like he's with a little more bat speed than playing pepper. And if you ever played pepper, they used to do it all the time before the DH, where pitchers would work on that. And Hank Bauer used to do it when he managed the Orioles with Louis Aparicio and Brooks, but it was hit the ball real hard, work on your hands and your reactions. But it's all about knowing where the bat head is, and Victor Martinez has a great idea of what he's trying to do and bat control. And right there, it gets him out with a cutter.
So the foul tip held by SISCO, and the inning ends. Our Ram due up for the O's: Machado, Jones, and Davis. Well, daytime baseball in Detroit, and this is all Tigers. Orioles had a 2-1 lead going to the bottom of the second, and Detroit has scored 11 unanswered runs, all behind Jordan Zimmerman. 77 pitches through 5 innings.
Well, it's amazing when you take a line drive. I never got hit in the head, legs, arms, things like that. Yeah, but when you take one off the right side of your face, and then what, about 7 days later come back on the mound and even pitch, period. So kudos to him, just being able to, I mean, it happened before, as we mentioned early on in his college career.
Appeal denied by Mark Carlson. Manny homered in the third, his 4th of the year, so his hitting streak now at 7.
No, he certainly, I mean, maybe you get a cutter here, but you got to throw a strike with a 9-run lead, and he swung at one of those pitcher's pitch, and this ball is just walloped. Line drive, young man almost catches it. Can't believe it.
Love the reaction.
Kind of the way the defense for the Orioles has gone today, isn't it?
And one of the guys in the bullpen got that baseball for that Oriole fan. He looks dejected.
No, he got a ball. Yeah, he probably came here to see the Orioles win, Jim.
Manny to left field. Did he get another one? Back on it is Jones, and that ball is gone. Machado with a multi-home run game.
Well, I'm looking at Jordan Zimmerman. He just goes behind the mound and kind of puts his head down. And Larry Vanover wants to throw him the ball, but he's going to wait for his catcher to do it. As Manny, fastball the first time. This is just a slider. Doesn't get it where he wants to. And, of course, Manny got it where he wants to. 5th home run of the season.
So his first multi-homer effort of the year. It's his 4th multi-RBI game and his 8th multi-hit game, which leads the team. It makes it 12-4.
Yeah, take a look, and again, it just covers the plate. Good part of the bat. Not out on the end. Wind blowing that way.
And that Oriole fan almost got another one. Oh, 2 on Adam Jones. Adam is 1 out of 2 with a double. Adam would like to join the home run parade. He's gone 50 at-bats since his last home run. It was back on April 5th. Down on strikes. That's number 7 for Zimmerman. 1 away.
Yeah, mixing his pitches, and meanwhile, as he gets some outs, as you mentioned, had retired 8 in a row. There's the good slider. So when he wanted to throw to Manny, couldn't do it.
The one down for Chris Davis, who had a 2-run home run in the second, which at the time gave the O's the lead. Then he was called out on strikes in the third. And Zimmerman appears to be in a groove. There's the shift, the infielders.
Yeah, and he goes to the curveball. Doesn't throw a lot of them, but hey, got an 8-run lead. It's where you learn to pitch. It's kind of like what spring training is about when you're working on all your stuff. Where you use your curveball and your slider. You may not use it during the season, but right here, the slider, when it's in the middle of the plate, it's been hit hard, so take a little bit off. That's what they did in the first 2 games. So, mix your fastball out of the zone like that at 92. And then figure, okay, maybe slow the bat down with about 80.
Just off the plate. Here's Davis's home run back in the second.
Yeah, just a fastball away, very much like the ball off the top of the wall yesterday. So this slices it at 103.
Zimmerman, his reactions on the mound.
Well, Jim, he got that pitch earlier in the game, so he wants it here in the 6th. I mean, barely, but it's a ball. Now, has it been a ball all afternoon? No.
So Davis benefits. He takes the walk. Zimmerman turns his back on Larry Vanover. Well, it's a whole new ball game, fans, with RBI Baseball 18. RBI Baseball 18 delivers an all-new franchise mode and much more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. It's rated E for everyone. Fazio on the phone to the bullpen. That is the first walk allowed by Zimmerman, and he thought he had Davis struck out twice.
Yeah, the highest pitch count of the season, and at 92 now. A lot of strikes, though. Maybe not on that pitch, obviously, but 64 in the strike zone, 628 out.
Well, they keep going out there. He keeps missing, in the opinion of Larry Vanover. There's Chad Bell, one of the 3 lefties in the 8-man bullpen.
Yeah, we've seen Stump, another left-hander, and then Daniel Norris came over the David Price trade, but I think he's pitching tomorrow. Yeah,
they have a day-night doubleheader tomorrow with Kansas City. So the first charge mound visit. All the production folks around the major leagues had to find a place for the mound visits on the scoreboard. Inside for ball 3. Something new to baseball this year. And there it is up there in left field. Part of the many information boards here at Comerica. There's a 4-pitch walk, so back-to-back walks after the strikeout.
Well, he's given every indication that here comes, I believe,
it's Spazio.
Yep, Chris Spazio, who had some health issues. Said, I can't sit around anymore. I'm going to come out. Came back to the ballpark. We didn't expect to see him on Tuesday, but we ran into him leaving the ballpark, so good to see him back. I'm not sure that Jordan Zimmerman wants to see him, but he does have an 8-run lead.
Well, this is also a stall for Chad Bell visit. And maybe trying to convince Jordan to calm down and not worry so much about the strike zone, which has floated. So a couple of charge mound visits this inning. That'll bring Tim Beckham up. Tim doubled in the second to snap an 0 for 17, then struck out in the 4th. Zimmerman has struck out 7. He's now walked 2. So Beckham has 2 on and only 1 down. And the fans applauding Larry Vanover. Zimmerman is from Auburndale, Michigan, or Wisconsin. Auburndale, Wisconsin. And there's a base hit for Beckham. Davis had to wait to make sure it got through, so he'll be held by Bobby Dickerson, and that's a good hold. So Beckham has a 2-hit game, and the Orioles have the bases loaded with 1 down. And that'll be it for Jordan Zimmerman.
Yeah, a little slider, hittable. And then right here, looking at you kind of know you're not going because you're down by 8. So a chance to get back into the game. Ron Gardenhire, first-year manager here with the, or at least first managing of the Tigers. Been around forever.
So Zimmerman leaves. Chad Bell comes on in the 6th.
leave, but he does leave with a 12-4 lead, even though the Orioles have the bases loaded. They'll bring in Chad Bell. That was all in relief, that his one appearance. So he pitched against the Indians, pitched well, gave up 6 hits. He came over in a trade from Texas for Bobby Wilson back in 2016, worked his way through the minor leagues as a starter for the Rangers. He's never really pitched well. I mean, last year, almost an ERA of 7 runs a game. You know, he's got all the pitches, you know, pretty good velocity, 93 with the fastball, slider, changeup, cutter. But let's see, ERA almost everywhere closer to 6 runs a game.
Santander with the bases loaded. Swings through an off-speed pitch. Well, Chad Bell was certainly in demand. He was drafted 3 times before he finally signed with the Texas Rangers. He's now 29 years old. Finally made it to the big leagues last year with the Tigers.
Yeah, actually pitched pretty well after that trade. Went 10-4 for AAA Toledo Mud Hens. And so again, it's not about stuff. It must be about command at this level. And of course, Anthony Santander, Rule 5 guy, he swings at a ball to start the count, but you want to make him, you know, throw a strike, get a good pitch to hit till you get to 2 strikes, and don't help him out. I said this game probably is going to be a slugfest. This game a long way from being over.
There's a double play ball. Machado gets it to Iglesias and back to first, and that'll do it. So after all that, the Orioles settle for the run on the Machado home run, his 2nd of the game. Mid-6th, Tigers lead at 12-4.
No, he didn't. And today would have been a little bit warmer.
There, the home run. They each got a Machado home run ball. Nearly hit it to the same section.
Well, he's going to get up again, at least, maybe more. Chance to hit 3.
So Mike Wright stays on. He's got an inning and 2/3, allowed 5 runs last inning. McCann has reached on an error, scored, singled and scored, and grounded out. Weak ground ball to third. There's Beckham. Tough in between hop. Stays with it. 1 down. So the ground ball, another one in this game. The Orioles pitching staff has now allowed 10 hits in 11 games this year. 11 of the 19, and that ties Oakland, Jim, for the most games allowing 10 or more hits. Pedro Araujo beginning to get loose. Maynard Diaz alongside as always. Popped up. SISCO hopes to have a play, but he's going to run out of room. The Orioles pitching also has had 4 games this year in which they've allowed 3 home runs, and that is more than any team. And they've allowed 2 home runs here today, a 2-run shot by Candelario and the grand slam by Martin.
4 yesterday.
So 7 home runs in the series. This ball's hit to left for Mancini. And 2 down here in the Tiger 6th inning. Well, we invite you to join us tomorrow as the Orioles finally get home and settle in. They'll open up a 10-game homestand. Cleveland Indians come to town. Dylan Bundy will be on the mound against Trevor Bauer. Coverage on MASN begins at 6:30 with O's Extra presented by Southwest. And then game coverage at 7 o'clock. We've got all the access you need right here on MASN. Hello, how are you? Thanks for coming.
They would like to save some of these runs if they're not going to win. Because Dylan 0-2 with a 1.40 ERA. But he got a couple of runs on opening day. And you had the ball lost in the sun, the blown save, so he didn't get a win that day.
He has been solid. Line drive right to Beckham, softly hit. And Mike Wright is a 3-up, 3-down 6th. So we'll head to the 7th. Those come back to back. Looking to chip back in, trailing 12-4. Years old, drafted out of high school in Baltimore and immediately came to the big leagues. And he ended up in Cooperstown. His number 6 is retired, and there's his statue. Of course, a tremendous outfielder as well, and very good friends with Jim Palmer. Look at that. He even has his own corner here.
Well, Al Kaline's good friends with everybody because he's such a great guy. So he'll be back in Baltimore for the Tigers next weekend.
Thank you, Scooter.
Oh, you're welcome. If I was Scooter, I'd be on my way across. What's the bridge to Canada? Because he used to go across
the Ambassador Bridge.
Yeah, he used to say to Bill White
or Frank Messer.
Yeah, I'm gonna go use the restroom. And the next thing you know, he was across the George Washington on his way to New Jersey.
But the next day he would come in with the coffee. Well, thank you for doing that, Jim.
You're welcome.
2-0 on SISCO. Chad Bell on. He got a double play to end the inning. SISCO rips it to right, and there's a base hit. So Chad will feel good about that, especially against the lefty. He snaps an 0 for 9 with a leadoff single. So Chad SISCO on.
Yeah, sweet swing right here. And again, he's a better low ball hitter, and this is where he gets it. You can see, just drop the hat. I mean, it's like he's got a pretty good idea, but lately, and he's going to have to lay off that pitch. They're just trying to go up the ladder. Bell doesn't do it, and good result.
Here's Trey Mancini. Breaking ball in the outside corner.
Yeah, and he's got them all. I mean, he's got the cutter, he's got the changeup. anytime I think if a pretty good arm, at least velocity wise. I don't know about movement. We'll see about that. He's got all the pitches.
Mancini looking to extend his hitting streak to 7 straight. He is 0 for 3.
And the way the ball's carrying with the wind blowing out, I mean, you're one swing away from giving up a 2-run home run. Good pitch there, though. Had it right in on his fist.
And the wind blowing towards straight left center field. And the 1-2 is upstairs. Good take. Two is hit to right field. That chases Castellanos back on it. Over his head for a base hit. SISCO rounding second, heading for third, and Mancini hustling the second with a double. So he goes to right field as well as anyone, and that one kept on going.
No, he's been trying to do it all day. I mean, just stay inside the ball. And, of course, when he hits it to right, they're not soft singles. I would imagine velocity on this was over 100 miles per hour. Castellanos, big rangy guy, but came up as a third baseman. They move him to right field, and that's a tough play. Once again, the wind's blowing out. So if you don't track it early, it's going to get over your head.
So SISCO a single, Mancini a double. Trey extends his hitting streak to 7 straight. Pedro Alvarez now. Ball one upstairs. Tell you what, Jim, that shows you how patient Alvarez is as a hitter. That one, he knew it was hanging, and yet still wasn't tempted because he knew it was a ball. So he gets the count in his favor, 2-0. And a little better breaking ball, and it's 2-1.
But the count is so important in hitting and obviously in pitching too, because if you're a hitter and once he gets 2-0, you can take that pitch and look for a fastball, probably what he was looking for.
Fastball right there.
And there's a perfect fastball low and away. He wasn't looking on the corner. But to Chad Bella, what he's done is done a nice job of getting back in the count. Got behind, threw a, get me over breaking ball, then a good one.
And he got him, so he came back from 2-0 down.
And then it goes right up the ladder. So it's a matchup, and don't think Ron Gardenhire's not looking. Can you get lefties out? That's exactly what he does. Just throws a little extra right on the corner, and Pedro Alvarez can't catch up with it.
So his first strikeout since coming on. Manny Machado 2 for 3 with a pair of solo homers. So he now has 5 home runs and 12 RBIs. And he has hits in 15 of the Orioles' 19 games. Strong start to his season. And let's go back to the third inning and look at our fourth drive of the game.
Yeah, 2-1 became 5-2, and then Manny comes up and just absolutely crushes one. The youngster, Oriole fan, can't come up 112 miles per hour off the bat.
Hurry to your local Ford dealers for great savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs. Orioles are trying to snap a 5-game losing streak, but trail by 8 here. They've also dropped 7 of 8 to fall 8 games below 500. Ground ball to short. A run will score. The play will be to first. So Chance SISCO comes in. RBI ground out for Machado. He has a 3 RBI day, and it's 12-5. Mancini ends up at third. So they were giving it to him, and Machado puts it in play, and he gets the RBI.
Yeah, and how do you do that? You just make contact. Wanted to do more. You can see he would have liked to have gotten a base hit. Probably felt that slider in the middle of the plate was more hittable than just getting a run in. But he does get it in. Doesn't pop it up. Doesn't strike out.
Ball 1 to Adam Jones. Adam 1 out of 3.
Well, you look at Chad Bell. He's one of these lefties that really hides the ball well, and the reason, you know, closed stance. A little bit of a George Sherrill who came over in the Adam Jones trade and made the All-Star team. So all you're seeing is his number. That's what Liriano did so well the other day. You know, not the Francisco Liriano that came up with the Twins in the about 2006 and 7, throwing 95, 90 to 91. Bell actually throws harder. Doesn't have the great changeup and slider that Liriano has.
Adam Jones, left center field and deep. That ball's way out there, and it's going to bounce into the shrubbery for an RBI double. So Adam Jones has a 2-hit game. Mancini scores. That's 12-6.
Yeah, a couple of doubles. And long ones at that, both almost to the same place. No way that Martin can run up with this one.
106 miles an hour off the bat.
Yeah, fastball thigh high, belted. And it's not the first time I've said that today. A lot of balls belted today. Weather gets warm. Ball is flying here in Detroit. 18 runs now on the board.
49 degrees.
Yeah, 25 hits. Throwing some base on balls, some hit batters, some errors. A lot of runs.
A 1-1 on Davis, who's had a good day. 2-run home run. He's also walked. He thought it was a ball. Then after it hit the glove, he wasn't sure, and he snuck a peek back at Vanover. There's a strike, so 2-2. Chad Bell's from Knoxville, Tennessee. There's Buck Farmer in the bullpen. He made one start at AAA Toledo earlier this year. 9 minor league seasons, including the one start this year.
Well, you can see he's not a command guy, and the tilt on his slider, pretty flat. And even though with a flat slider, he gets Chris Davis to swing through it.
So the Orioles get 2. 7th inning stretch in Detroit. Tigers in front. And back here in the bottom of the 7th, Machado takes strike 1. Martin and Candelario will follow against Mike Wright, who was still on. He came on with 1 out in the 4th. So in a perfect world, Mike Wright can stay on through 8. And will keep the rest of the bullpen fresh for the Indian series, which begins tomorrow night.
Yeah, and then they will. Well, they may end up bringing. We're talking about bringing a left-hander up because, Tigers didn't have a lot of left-handed hitters, even though we've seen Victor Martinez. Of course, he's a switch hitter, and then Candelario have a very good series. So, yeah, you're right. And I said this up in Boston. The only good news about losing on the road is you don't have to pitch the 9th inning.
So 2-2 the count. Mike Wright is at 44 pitches, so he certainly can go another couple innings.
No, that's kind of up to the Tigers and him. And there's a good slider. Yeah, you watch him warm up, and he doesn't fall off at all. And then when the game starts, he has a tendency just to, and I think it's kind of just landing on the left side of his front foot, so you lose your line a little bit. And you heard almost a Nolan Ryan, kind of a grunt. So, yeah, so see how square he is, just over his front side, and then when you get in the game, I mean, just kind of it's maybe a little more effort. I think ideally, though, and I saw Andrew Kashner talk to Hunter Harvey when he said, hey, not much of a curveball. And Hunter said, well, I don't really throw it as hard as I do in the game. And he goes, well, then how are you going to be ready for the game? So you try to do the same things. And, something that, Mike's windup's gotten a little bit better.
There's a bouncer towards third. Beckham to his left. And finally, Machado retired, 1 down.
No, young ball club here, but they have a little bit of speed. We've seen that. We've got the older guys in Cabrera, 35, and Victor Martinez, and then the guys like Martin, who's been around at 30, comes in out of Cuba. He's had a nice day, the grand slam, and that's probably the most glaring pitch was just laid on the fastball and threw him a slider that sped up the bat, and he didn't miss it. And that was 4 quick runs.
Up foul wide of third. Beckham will watch it. Head into the stands for a souvenir. Pedro Araujo still getting loose.
Yeah, they may let him pitch an inning only because he threw 2 pitches yesterday, and Dixon Machado hit the walk-off home run in the 9th. So maybe just a little confidence builder.
0-2 on LEONYS Martin. Indians are already in Baltimore after their game in Puerto Rico last night with the Twins. They were to travel. They likely got in early this morning, but they're there. Left field and deep. Chases Mancini back, but Trey gets there, and he's got it for the 2nd out in the Detroit 7th inning. He is really playing an outstanding left field for the Orioles. With that breeze today, it's not routine.
Sun, breeze, unfamiliar field, even though by the 3rd game, look at his Wayne Kirby, first base coach and outfielding coach extraordinaire. 19 assists 1 year. You thought when you got to August and you already had about 12 or 13, Curb, they would have slowed down. He goes, no, nope, they didn't. Threw out 19 of them. How about I remember Mr. Bell when he came to Baltimore.
They kept running on him.
Yeah, he had like 17 assists.
Well, and you see what Trey has become, and of course he did the work, but in 2017 in spring training, when it was thought that maybe he could make the transition, He would go out early before the workouts with Wayne Kirby and Brady Anderson and work on the technique and the footwork and all the things that are necessary technique-wise to play out there. And Trey not only did all the work, but he appears to have mastered it. Of course, when Brady first came up to the Orioles, he played left field, right? So,
well, he played left field because Johnny Oates was the manager at the time, I believe, and he said, listen, I'm putting my best outfielder in the biggest part of Camden Yards, and that's left field. And Brady could run balls down, and of course he would hit 50 home runs one year and steal bases and do a lot of things to win. And yeah, that's the one thing that Trey's never going to have, Brady Anderson's speed.
Right.
But you can work on your reads and your jumps on balls and all the things that he does by taking balls off the bat.
3-2 to Candelario is fouled back.
And he's never going to have a great throwing arm, but okay, do I catch the ball? Do I get rid of it quickly? You know.
Well, he's got 4 assists.
No,
leads the league.
That's good. Well, no, I'm not saying, but he doesn't have great arm strength. That he's not going to drag arm strength with most outfielders, but again, technique, because of working hard, as you mentioned. He usually does a good job. He hits the cutoff man. There's a base on balls to Candelario. So does a lot of things to improve himself and help the team win.
So Candelario on, and that'll do it for Mike Wright. Buck was hoping to get him through the 7th, but the 2-out walk to Candelario. So we will get Pedro Araujo coming on here in the 7th.
Runners that were scored, but he could strike people out, got a great splitter. Now yesterday, misses ball 1, and then Dixon Machado with a walk-off. Only the 2nd home run he's hit at the major league level. And you got to leave the field. I experienced that in Minnesota when I was 19. It never happened to me in the minors. And of course, Dixon pitching most of his minor league careers at A-ball, 2 innings in Double-A, and then all of a sudden pitching in the big leagues. Let's see what this pitch. Probably going to be a changeup. He's got a really good one. Nope. He goes, well, just in case. A little, and not a little extra because it was only 92. First pitch yesterday was 94.
Well, Pedro has allowed 6 runs on the year, but 4 came in 1 game. That was his loss in Houston.
And that was the Nestor Cortez home run to Josh
Reddick.
Yeah. There's the splitter. So now you're in a position, get out of the inning, strike the ball. That was kind of a strike to strike. And against good hitters, and Cabrera is certainly on that list, you don't want to show him the same pitch again. Got to be a little bit better quality.
And he just serves it in the left center field for a base hit. Hustling the third is Candelario. He'll be held, and Miguel Cabrera in the second base with a double. So even on 0-2, he gets a good swing.
Well, that's strike to strike, and it's not a horrible pitch, but it's just down, and it's bat control. Do you know where the bat head is? You're not a .317 lifetime batting hitter if you don't. Look at this. Boom. I mean, it's, right through it, head behind it, looking at the back of the ball. Talk about a textbook swing. I've seen a lot of those from not only the, some Orioles, but a lot of Tigers. More Tigers than you would have liked in this 3-game series.
And Candelario ends up at third. He's been on base all 5 times. Cabrera at second for Castellanos. Ball 1, the fastball up and in. Second and third with 2 down.
Wow. That's how you drive the ball right there. I mean, that's the kind of swing. He missed on the first pitch, and then he's looking away. Good enough stuff to get it by him. Those are the kind of swings you try to read, whether you're Chance Sisco or a young rookie pitcher. Stay out of that zone.
Well, 1-1 the count on Castellanos.
Hanging slider that he just misses. Well, he wants to join the party, as you mentioned. Almost everybody, seven of the 9 have base hits. Only Castellanos and Machado without hits.
But they each have RBIs. Castellanos on a ground out, and Machado, he was hit by the pitch with the bases loaded. 1-2 with 2 down. Castellanos in his 6th season, so he is a lot more experience than Araujo, but you see there, Pedro thought he would chase, and he wouldn't.
Well, ball to ball, and that usually, not always, but usually doesn't get hitters out. Strike the ball. That's when you get the 2 strikes. Is the kind of quality pitch you'd like to throw. Can't always do it.
Well, he got on the chase. How about that?
Yep.
The very next pitch. So the Tigers strand 2. We will head to the 8th. Birds come to bat, trailing it 12-6.
Moving from third to shortstop, and he's going to make the highlight reels because of his ability. I don't know if too many shortstops in the major leagues that can make this play. Victor Martinez, he can't run, but he had to go a long way in heading really towards the left field foul line over his shoulder to throw him out. So Buck Farmer comes on. We saw him on Tuesday night, so early in the season. You can see, too many walks, too many hits. Last year started at AAA and then came up to the Tigers. And big guy, good stuff. Command sometimes wanes, fastball. We saw it at 94, 95, curveball, slider, got all the pitches. And to protect a 6-run lead here in the 8th.
Luis Sardinia's first ball swinging. Skies it to left. Jacoby Jones waits, and on 1 pitch, 1 down. Well, Sardinius has a hitless day. He did draw a walk in the 6th.
Yeah, Buck Farmer, a big guy at 6'4", listed at 230, 235.
Out of Georgia Tech. Here's Tim Beckham. Farmers from Conyers in Georgia and stayed in state. Georgia Tech has a real good baseball program.
Well, if you're pitching, Chris Bosio was a terrific pitcher in his own right, did a great job for the Cubs. So he's your regular pitching coach. And then you got Rick Anderson out in the bullpen. And there's a good breaking ball. And of course, Rick Anderson was a pitching coach for years, former pitcher, when Rod Gardenhire managed in Minnesota. So you're going to be the best you can because they're going to give you a lot of advice, little tips, little nuances. There he is, hiding behind the fence. Probably trying to get out of harm's way, as many balls have been hit hard today.
Now 1-2 the count on Beckham. And 2-2.
Yeah, we saw that changeup from Farmer on Tuesday night. It's almost like a screwball.
And the 2-2 to Beckham. Foul back. Pretty good heater at 95.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I think it was 96, even better. For the high heat. Well, Beckham's a better fastball hitter, and when you get him out, unless you hang a slider, he hit a double on a slider up the gap. They just try to show him the fastball, keep it in, not out over the plate, and then bury the breaking ball. And we're at another 96 in the middle of the plate.
So Beckham pesky here, about to see a 7th pitch.
Well, you're down by 6 and they need 6, 5 outs. And that's what this game's all about. Come on the road, you get 27 outs. Game's not over till you make that 27th out.
Going the other way, and he has another base hit. Well, that's a good sign there. Beckham goes the other way, and he has a 3-hit afternoon. So he is on with 1 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Merry-go-round with all the Tigers. Very popular attraction here.
Yeah, they got them all here. That's not the way you want to pitch, like a merry-go-round. You want to be like that Ferris wheel we showed you back there. Yeah, it kind of went away against the analytics as far as Beckham, and he made him pay. So now they'll play behind Beckham at first. Try to take the hole away. And that scoreboard dictates that.
Santander is 1 out of 3. And there's a double play. And that's how it's going for the O's. Line drive right to Cabrera, steps on the base. We head to the bottom of the 8th in Detroit. Six. A lot of school groups here today. They had a jobs fair, which was very informative. A lot of folks from around the Detroit area speaking to the kids before the game. A lot of enthusiasm. There's Verhagen.
Yeah, he came in and got roughed up a little bit, so a good game to maybe get him back on track. Probably will pitch the 9th inning.
So Araujo goes to work here against Martinez, McCann, and Jacoby Jones. 27 hits combined in this game. Araujo came on last inning, gave up a double to Cabrera on an 0-2 pitch, but then struck out Castellanos
with a very good slider.
So Martinez, an RBI single in 4 trips. He has now reached base in 12 consecutive games.
Yeah, good splitter right there. Yeah, he started it off for the Tigers, and if they don't run themselves out of the inning in the first, because this is the splitter, and just barely, hoping that SISCO's all right. Maybe those 12 runs would have been worse, but Candelario ran himself into an out to get the Tigers out of the first, and then the Orioles would take the lead on the Davis home run. But since then, they've done a better job offensively.
1-2 on Martinez. And a tremendous ability to prolong at-bats.
Well, we've seen him all series. We saw Cabrera kind of cut the swing down. I mean, they're great hitters. If you look at the scope of their careers, you'd put them in the great category, especially Cabrera with 4 batting titles. So if they can do it, they can subjugate that ego and not always think home runs. But they're more old school. And the tougher teams to get out, 1 through 9, are the ones that are willing to do that. It's the way the game is played. You want to go up there and flail away, swing at pitchers' pitches early in the count, It's harder to sustain your offense. Tigers, they haven't done that in this series. Cashner pitched well, but the Martinez home run early on, where did he do? He hit it to the opposite field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wind was blowing out the left, got one up in the wind, blew out of here early.
The 2-2 has hit the center field. That'll chase Adam Jones back. He'll glide back on it, and it's over his head. It kept on going. So Martinez will chug into second base with a double, his second hit of the game.
Well, he flied to deep right. He hit it about 400 feet. I think he figured, okay, I did this early. It's a ball that Adam, he's playing. He doesn't get a good read. The ball plays him. He doesn't play the ball. Been a long afternoon. Usually a catchable ball by him. I'll be the first to tell you that. Not an easy play. And they're going to bring Martinez out, but that's kind of a wind-blown double.
Victor Reyes will take over as a pinch runner. He seems to be Victor's designated pinch runner.
Well, he's a Rule 5 guy, and they're trying to keep him. They like his skill set, so they'll try to keep him around for the entire season, and that's one of the rules.
So a leadoff double. Here's James McCann. Went right at him with a fastball, 0-1. Just looking up at the flags, Jim, it's interesting that during the Victor Martinez at bat, the wind shifted. You see now it's blowing more towards center field. It had been blowing out towards left center, so maybe that ball he hit got over Adams' head a little bit wind-aided. Not sure.
There's
but
no doubt about that. I mean, the whole day, this whole series, the wind has been blowing out, either to center or from right to left.
And he got him.
Yeah, you get one chance, maybe a slider before that stays up, and then he does a nice job of finishing the breaking ball like he did to Castellanos last inning. Well, just imagine, you got to stay in the big leagues. You're used to getting guys out at Myrtle Beach and in the Arizona Fall League, which you did a great job of. And the next thing you know, you make the club, and you're getting a chance to pitch at the big leagues.
Ooh. That hit the bat, fortunately for Jacoby Jones. Jones has a 2-hit game. He's also scored a couple of runs. He'll turn 26 in May. And he pops it up. Adam Jones coming on. And he'll get there for the out. 2 away here in the Tigers' 8th. So Araujo gets another out.
Yeah, really good pitch. Young hitter, crowds him, jams him, pops him up.
Here's Jose Iglesias, the shortstop. Triple to drive in 2 runs in the second. He singled and scored in the 5th. A triple, very generous scoring by the official scorer. He pulled around second and only went to third because Trey Mancini's throw sailed over the cutoff man.
Yeah, and that's just a matter. And I went through this when I started coming up here. You want to get a little extra, so you fly straight left, overthrow it. Made some nice pitches. Watch him go left. Jerks his head. And there's no way, your chin, your eyes kind of take you, whether you're hitting, whether you're pitching, in the direction you want to go. Yeah, front shoulder is your steering wheel. Kind of gets to where you want to.
And a base hit down the line. Tigers will get another run. Around third is Victor Reyes. And heading to second base with his third hit and his third RBI is Jose Iglesias.
Oh, he's coming off a year where he had career highs in doubles, and you go down, I mean, RBIs and whatever, hanging slider, and he's all over it. You know, off of Alex Cobb, it was a 2-0 fastball he drilled. So again, I mean, that ball just hit so hard, Beckham can't react. Yeah, we got this note today. Their middle infielders are what they were 29th in runs and then 30th in batting average, on base percentage, total bases. Well, that's changed a little bit. And that's why you play the 162 game schedule. Easy to point out bad numbers.
And here's Machado, the number 9 batter. Pops it up. That'll be back in the crowd, out of play, 0-1.
But if the Tigers win and they have a 7-run lead here, I mean, they're going to go from 4-9 to 7-9. And for a young club rebuilding, step forward. All those rainouts and, as you mentioned, postponements. With that Yankee game that was snowed out, sleeted out, whatever it was over the weekend, it'll be a doubleheader, I think, on June 4th. We'll have to make them up, but for a team that won 64 games, they're playing pretty well.
Oh, just missed inside. Dixon Machado's from Venezuela. He is 26 years old. And he has been a career Tiger, signed when he was 16 back in 2008.
A nice play by Chance SISCO on a long afternoon. Yeah, he's going to throw a slider and he'll get it down and see much better there, but he does fall over. I mean, that's, you know, Bob Gibson did that, but what is your line when you release the ball? If your head goes left, shoulder goes left, that's not what you want.
And he popped them up. Shallow center for Adam Jones. And the inning ends, so the Tigers add a run on a couple of doubles. We head to the ninth. Detroit leading at 13-6. By Southwest. Low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And it's turned into a pretty nice afternoon. Certainly the best weather day since the Orioles got here. There's Nico Goodrum. He comes on at first base for Cabrera. And a new pitcher here is Drew Verhagen.
Yeah, second consecutive day. Did give up the fastball home run to Chris Davis to left. Actually, thought it was a home run. Hit the top of the wall. Gave up a couple of runs. They got a blown save yesterday, and then of course they would come back with the Hicks home run and then the walk-off home run by Dixon Machado. So hard throwers, got them all. Hard slider, fastball. in the mid-90s.
So chance SISCO will lead off. SISCO base hit his last at bat, snapped an 0 for 9. He has 6 hits now in his last 25 at bats. Going through the adjustment process, the young hitters have to go through.
Well, he's already got a pretty short swing, and but don't think that Cleveland doesn't have advanced guys here. So if they're throwing 95 in the middle of the plate, and Cleveland has a whole bevy of those guys, that you're not going to see that if you play. See how the bat gets a little bit quicker on the ball down, because you just have to drop the bat head. And of course, that's something that you learn. You know, we go to the next booth. Brian Roberts, one of the more prolific double hitters. Early on, he'd be lazy fly balls, and all of a sudden, early on in the count, he'd lay off that pitch, get better pitches to hit. And
this one skied the shallow left. Candelario's there, the third baseman, and he sticks with it. Tumbles, but he stuck with it.
Well, there's the win. Where's it? Come on, help me. Jose, where are you? Jose? No, I got it.
Now, oh, wait a minute. Where's the left fielder?
Iglesias. Well, that's a long run. I mean, you know, of course, I think if the ball was popped up by the dugout with Jacoby Jones' speed, he'd run it down. He's all over the outfield. I think he just assumed that shortstop or third baseman would catch it, and he did. Wow. That's that hard slider. We saw it yesterday, but he bounced it early on, and then. But he's got a good arm.
Mancini 1 out of 4 to extend his hitting streak.
And then the ability to throw it downhill.
Now, Ron Gardenhire, his first year in Detroit, that was a pretty good hire by Al Avila, as he's been through the rebuilding in his career in Minnesota, so he certainly understands the patience it takes. And with some of the veterans they have on this team and all these younger players, and they still have more in the minors trying to get the phone call.
Well, he came into the season with 1,068 wins and 1,039 losses, and he won all those divisions with the Twins. Unfortunately, they had to play the Yankees early on. There's a really good breaking ball. And that's how you have to pitch to get Mancini out. I mean, hard sliders. He's not happy about this, but this is perfect slider.
So the O's down to their final out, and Pedro Alvarez will get another at bat. Pedro DHing today is 0 for 4. Tigers will have the first pick in the draft in June, so they'll have their pick of whom they perceive to be the best player.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah, you want to be right. You don't always know. This is good stuff right here. That's what Craig Biggio was talking about when we were on the field, Hall of Fame infield from Houston. He said it's all right to draft first. Houston did it, what, 3 straight years? He said, but you still got to pick the right guys.
Yep.
Yeah. Orioles, I think, are picking 11th this year.
Yeah, 11th.
So you better pick the right guys.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter. You try to do the best you can, and Trey Mancini, what, an 8th rounder?
Mm-hmm.
That worked out well.
And the 1-2 is hit to left field. Jones was deep, and that's going to fall in there for a base hit. So Alvarez is on with 2 men down. So put the ball in play. Something good might happen, and we saw it there.
Well, I mean, that's one of those, you know, you grind them out, gut it out. You wanted a base hit. Long day for the Orioles. Certainly not the result so far that they want, trailing by 7 with only 1 out to go. But you get on the board. And like we said, you get Manny up, he's going to have a couple more at bats, chance to hit 3 home runs.
3 RBI day for Manny. His 4th multi-RBI game of the year.
So fastball for a home run, slider off of Zimmerman. Both hit the left center.
This one hit towards right center field. That ball carries. And that's going to get down for a base hit way out there in deep right center field. Pedro Alvarez is going to easily score, and Machado has another RBI.
Yeah, one of those balls that in Baltimore probably would have been the 3rd home run. So they're playing him pretty much straight away. Fastball, I think it was a fastball, and he just clubs it. And Pedro's saying, well, got my base hit, might as well get Manny an RBI. And the Orioles get their 7th run.
So Machado with a 3-hit, 4 RBI day. 13-7 now. Here's Adam. And that gets all the way past McCann. So
yeah, that's the way Verhagen came in yesterday. You know, bouncing those sliders. Hey, you talk to hitters now, and if you throw 94, 95, 96, and you end up pitching in the middle of the plate, it's like BP. There's so many guys that, I don't mean the guys that have great movement or, you know, good sinkers, the Zach Brittons of the world.
Adam Jones to center field and deep. Martin, a long run out there. That's over his head. And it bounces up against the wall. Machado will score, and Jones goes to second base with his 3rd double of the game.
And then when you were hitting off at 95, 96, and you hang a slider, it's right to your bat head. And he just crushes this. So, I mean, take a look. It's just so hittable because there's no tilt, doesn't get over his front side, and it's belted. So Martin knows he can't catch it and just picks it up. And now you got 8 runs. One of the great meetings of all time that I had with Earl Weaver was telling us that when you're on the road and you're losing, the game is not over till you make that 27th out. When I was in Structural League, Cal Ripken Sr., we had about a 9-run lead. Bat Boy started putting it away. He goes, no, no, no. Need that 27th out. And it's sometimes hard to get. I mean, I'd take my chances with a man on second and a 5-run lead, but it's no guarantees. It looks like they're going to maybe get somebody up in their bullpen.
Joe Jimenez is going to get loose, just in case.
And you know Gardenhire didn't want to do this. Verhagen comes in. He looks like he's going to have a good outing, and then all of a sudden a series of balls to the heart of the order in the middle of the plate. Lesson should to be learned here.
2-1 on Chris Davis. Rally positions. A little bit low, ball 3.
You ought to be taken here. You know, in the old days, that's what you do. You're down by 5. Bat on your shoulder. You know, you can track it like you're down in the bullpen. But if he wants to walk you, you got to take the walk.
And he does walk.
And by not swinging at a close pitch, you do get the walk.
Well, the Orioles are about to send a 7th batter up here in the 9th. So 1st and 2nd with 2 down. And that'll bring Chris Bosio out for a chat. This is another stall visit for Joe Jimenez, who's in the bullpen.
Well, unless he goes, you know, at least he has to face another batter. So you got run 9 at second, run 10 at first, 11 at the plate. And they need an out, and the Orioles don't want to make it.
All this started, by the way, 2 outs and nobody on. The Alvarez blue pit. Machado crushed the ball to the gap. Jones crushed the ball to center field. And then the walk.
All you got to do is go back to Chicago when Atlanta had, what, a 7-2 lead? Might have been worse than that. It was.
Oh, the snow game?
Yeah, the snow game. And they scored 8 runs, 3 hits, 5 walks, errors, hit batters. You name it, wild pitches.
So here's Sardinas. He takes ball 1.
Yeah, young pitcher, and I'm sure Chris Bosio said, hey, just relax, throw strikes. That's what he said. It's just harder to do.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities, runners in scoring position. 11 for the O's, 17 for the Tigers.
Yeah, taking a pitch as you should.
Line drive, foul. And the Orioles now down to their final strike, 1-2 on Luis.
Now we're going to get a little noise as some of the Tiger fans get to their feet, kind of like the Yankees started doing when Ron Guidry went 25-3. Sitting down the third baseline, it's been a great day because you got a little sun. They may win or may not unless they get this last out.
1-2 on Sardinas. And he doesn't chase. Sardinas 0 for 3 today. He has drawn a walk. He's trying to keep this game going. And he got him, and that'll end it. So Sardinas goes down on strikes. The Orioles do get 2, all after 2 outs and nobody on. But Sardinas strikes out to end it. So a tough road trip comes to an end as the Orioles go 0-6 through Boston and Detroit. We'll be back to Comerica Park. Final score. The Tigers on 18 base hits beat the Orioles. Detroit 13, Baltimore 8.